Welcome back, everyone, to the final day of the round of 16 of the SSL. And once again, joining me is the one and only, it's Ret.
Hey, Nyoken. Good to be back for another exciting day of ASL.
Yeah, yesterday those games were crazy, man. I know you don't play Terran or Protoss, but Speed really delivered out of that Protoss group, even though he ended up falling. He had some crazy games, and actually I think it got some of the most posts on Team Liquid for any of the groups. They were really exciting, and I'm hoping today's groups also deliver, but unfortunately, instead of there being 3 Protosses, there's 3 Terrans, and I have a feeling we're going to be in for another long day.
Yeah, once again, I don't really know too much about TVT, so I'm going to be a bit in the dark about exactly what's going on, but the players at least are very exciting. Some of the best Terrans in the world. And also looking at the rest of the tournament, I think if we're going to think about who's going to, for example, defeat Sulky in the round of 8 or the round of 4, I'm pretty much looking at Light, so I'm hoping he can deliver today. Also, it's pretty exciting to see Stork play because he's like the OG Protoss, and he's getting a little older, but he's still here in the round of 16, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and during the group selection bit of the beginning of this cast, the reason that Sharp picked Stork is he knew Stork would pick Terran, so Sharp must be feeling pretty confident in his TVT. I couldn't read exactly what Royal was saying, but based on his reaction and face, it doesn't look like he's too confident in this group because who could he really pick at the very end? All he had was a choice between Mini and Light, and then of course after Rain picked Mini, all that's left is Light. So, even though I think Royal is really good TVT, he didn't look like he was very enthused about this group.
Yeah, I don't think any of these guys like playing Light. It's got to be like the most feared player, probably alongside Sulky in the whole player pool. So that makes sense that he didn't like that. But in a group with 3 Terrans, he probably practiced a lot of TVT. And a couple of seasons ago, he even got to the final. And so, I mean, anyone in this group can really do it. I think Sharp looked amazing last season. It's like constantly these guys are like breaking new levels of skill. Like, for example, Sharp. And then yesterday we saw Speed.
Yeah, and then I had been waiting for a long time for Best to make a good showing in the SSL last season. What did he make? Top 8, I think. Even though he didn't do well this season, he did do very well last season. So I'm going to be looking forward to seeing him in particular in future tournaments. I'm still waiting for Action, man. What's up with Action? I just every single season, like, something happens where he just bombs out. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts on Action are, but I love Action. I really wish he could have a breakout performance.
Yeah, I thought Action was really, really good. Like maybe a year ago. Well, actually, he's been really, really good for like maybe 2 or 3 years already. But then I saw this season he lost the seat twice, so that's not looking great. I tried to watch the games. I think they were both Mac. I don't really remember what happened, but obviously losing to C is kind of totally unexpected for Action. So, but maybe next season. I do. Didn't he also like quit like several times? I feel like he retired and then came back a couple of months later, and people were making fun of him for that. So.
Yeah, he had a guy moment where he quit for like 2 weeks or something and then unretired and came
Yeah.
and came back. Speaking a little bit to, you were mentioning about the people that have already qualified. You mentioned that Light is dangerous. In particular, if Light was to make it out in second place, Sulky made it out in first place, and he can't play his opponent from the round of 16, who's Rush. So the people that have qualified second out of their group so far, Hero and Snow, and if Light was to make it out of this group in second place, that means Sulky could only play one of those 3 players. And
Yeah.
Sulky versus Hero would be a rematch of the finals. Sulky versus Snow would be a rematch of the round of 4. I don't know what match Sulky versus Light would be, but that would also be an epic battle.
Okay, so I'm definitely hoping Light takes second place in this group then. So we would have a totally killer round of 8 already for Sulky. But yeah, that's crazy. He would either play the finalist, the repeat of the final, or the repeat of the semi-final, and then one of these guys. So that's absolutely insane for the round of 8.
Yeah, that would be an insane run if he was able to go through those players. I'm trying to look at the stat we see at the bottom. It's something about win percentage. He's talking to somebody about their win percentage versus Terran. 60% win rate. It looks like he's talking to Stork. So Stork, I guess. Oh no, Sharp. Okay. So Sharp, I mean, I've always talked about how Sharp has really good TVT. In fact, I think he won TVT last week versus JY, or was it round of 20? I can't remember. Somebody beat JYJ versus with TVT, but either way, Sharp always plays well. Of course, the breakout for me for Sharp was a few years ago when he played that game on Ground Zero versus Flash. It's one of the best games I've ever seen, especially in TVT. It was like a 50-minute TVT, almost mined out map. Absolutely crazy. So I do really like Sharp in this particular group because of how good his TVT is and because he had his great run last season.
Yeah, I think Sharp's looking really strong. Like you said, historically, TVT very, very, very good. Also, Stork, especially in this tournament, Stork has already defeated JYJ and Mind. So he's also looking pretty sharp PVT. And then Royal, what are your thoughts on Royal right now? Because I feel like Royal was like really, really climbing to the top around like 2020, 2021, but then it feels like he's been slumping a little bit.
I get the same thoughts also. I think Royal, when he was having his run up, is he was catching people off guard with like a lot of variety of builds. But then I think some people have figured out like, okay, you've got a lot of different builds, but some of them are like super fragile. So if I can, you know, even get a slight advantage versus it, you may just fall apart. For example, in Terran versus Zerg, there's a lot of games where he goes 2 racks and he texts to like a factory off like 5 minutes, and I'm like, dude, if you even lose a couple Marines, you're just gonna die to straight up pure mutas. I think it's kind of like that where people have kind of figured out Royal a little bit. But as far as Terran versus Terran goes, I'm not so sure if players have figured him out in TBT, but in Terran versus Zerg, I think for sure. In Terran versus Protoss, I also think they've done that because Royal really relies on kind of what we saw yesterday with Speed, with insane multitask, a lot of drops. But if you can shut it down, you can get into a good state versus him in the mid and late game.
Yeah, we'll have to see what he brings to the table today. It'll be fun to see him advance once again. It's kind of interesting now, like ASL's been going for so long. Like all these guys have had amazing tournaments. They're all amazingly skilled, and I'm kind of curious, like, since StarCraft is so popular still in Korea, I'm really waiting for that newcomer that's like in his early 20s, like we have in StarCraft 2 with like Raynor and Clem, but
Well, one of your boys there, Raynor, he's gone to League, man. He's getting coached by Last Shadow in League of Legends, and
yeah.
he's climbing on the Korean ladder there.
Yeah, I saw that. That's actually interesting. That would be, yeah, he must be pretty good if he's playing with Last Shadow, right?
Yeah, Last Shadow's like masters or grandmasters in League. I mean, he's really freaking good, but it's surprising that he's that high rated because he doesn't even play that much. But he was talking about how Raynor's like a natural at League because he's already. I think right now he's like high diamond. But if he was, and he hasn't even been playing that long, so it would be very impressive if he cannot make it to Masters. And it's in Korea, which is the hardest region.
Yeah, they should have got him into Brute War, man. That would have been something.
Well, speaking about that other player, Clem, I do have to say that Clem versus Cyril finals in the what was it, EWC? I can't remember the name of the tournament, but that finals absolutely crazy. Clem made it look like Terran was untouchable, like the way he was microing backwards. Like every time I kept watching, I'm like, man, Cyril can't even hit his units.
Yeah, it's really really impressive to see what they can do. So, I think it's really a shame that we won't get to see these guys play StarCraft Brood War because I think they're so insanely talented. They could have also played this game.
Well, we definitely know they could have because Scarlet came and played a little bit, and she was already taken down one of the goats in Artosis in some of those show matches, right?
Yeah, Scarlet was really really good, really really quick. But you know she did pick Protoss, so
Oh,
it's a bit of a cheat.
yeah, cheat code.
And then the other day, Hero Marine was saying that on his stream, I think, that nobody is good in StarCraft 1 for non-Koreans. And if any StarCraft 2 programmers swapped, they would be the top one player outside Korea within like several months. And then Artosis called him out and said, okay, let's see it, but you have to do it with Terran. And then your Marine replied, nah, I'm not sure I can do it with Terran. It'd be too hard.
I think playing Zerg would also be hard. Like, I mean, I just think Zerg is so hard to control. Zerg has always been my favorite race, but I just can't control their tiny units. It's just impossible for me. And having, 200 Zerglings is just too much. We're getting a look at the results so far. Like I mentioned, Sulky out in first. Yeah, here we go. Hero and Snow in second place. I mean, this is just absolutely crazy to think of the possibilities here if Light gets out in second. I'm trying to think of, okay, if we get like Sulky versus Light, for example, what matchup would I want to see other players get? I think I would probably prefer to see Barracks versus Snow because Barracks has been doing very well versus Protoss. Then I think Rain would really want to avoid Rush because he's talked about how he doesn't like PvT. So that would give him Hero, but that's not an easy matchup either. And then let's say Stork makes it out in first. I'm just naming someone. Then that could be an exciting matchup of Stork versus Rush. I guess that would be my ideal draw if that could happen.
Yeah, I would love to see Stork come out first place, but I think he's really got his work cut out for him here.
Yeah, so let's see if we can get some look at these stats. So round of 24 in season 8, we had Stork over Sharp. So that was a long time ago. Season 14, round of 24. We had Royal over Sharp, okay, or 1-1 Royal and Sharp. And then Sharp beat Light 2-0 in season 9. Again, that's a long time ago. And then actually season 15, this is 4-3 from Light versus Stork. Why do I not remember a best of 7 between them? Maybe it's an overall stats historically. These stats say, looks like Sharp is the best at TVT. He's second place in win rate with 59.6. Then we have, I mean, you were talking about it earlier, Stork beat Mind and JYJ in the round of 24, which was surprising because Mind and JYJ both, when Mind and JYJ had their big run in a couple seasons ago, they looked unstoppable in Terran versus Protoss. Then we have the next graphic, something about Royal. I'm not sure exactly what that reads. And then the last graphic was about Light, how he hasn't really performed because his last 3 seasons, he got round of 16, round of 24, and then round of 16. And now we're getting a look at Sharp stats, even though he's very strong in Terran versus Terran and Terran versus Zerg. Versus Protoss, not so bad. 44% win rate is still pretty decent, but it's definitely his worst matchup, at least in ASL.
Yeah, historically, yeah, I would agree. That's Sharp TVP, probably not the best, but I thought last season when he played in round of 8 against Best, he looked super, super good. He was one of those guys that was going really crazy with the vultures everywhere, planting so many mines, which is so hard to do, requires so much APM. So it's actually exciting to watch him play TVP again here.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to have games just like what we saw Speed do yesterday. I think Speed is even faster than Sharp, which is pretty crazy to say, but the games that I have seen of Sharp recently, he's been making the same moves where he's doing multiple vulture harassment at the same time. And yesterday Speed was even picking apart Snow at certain moments, especially the Pantheon game. I don't know how he got in vultures multiple times. And I mentioned that because Snow and Stork have some of the slowest APM. I'm doing air quotes here because they still have 300 APM, but I could see a world where Sharp can pick him apart.
Yeah, that's always been Stork's relative weakness, but it looks like we're getting into the game on Radeon.
Okay, so in the bottom left, we do have Sharp.
In the top left, we have Stork, the Grandpa Toss. I guess that's White Rat's nickname, but you know, Stork is like, man, Stork has played through so many generations. I think Stork played in the era of like Nada and Uv. So it's really nice to watch him play here today in 2024. Even in StarCraft 2, you know, Stork was on Samsung, and he was still playing in tournaments. Like he came out to Home Story Cup and stuff like that, and I met him and watched him play. But even back then, he was like 26, and they were already like sort of pushing him towards a coaching role because he was getting a little older.
Yeah.
To just to watch him now still be able to compete 1v1 with the best in the world, it's so nice. It warms my heart.
Yeah, it is pretty impressive. Gives us hope for the older players like myself and yourself. Speaking of age, though, I remember when I joined ByClan, what was I, like 21 or something? And that was like kind of the limit on players that they were accepting. And the reason I mention this is because White Raw also applied to ByClan. I think White Raw is what, like 4 or 5 years older than me?
Yeah.
And they literally rejected him, even though he was beating players, because he was 25 or 26. It was literally an age thing.
Yeah, I mean, even when I went to Korea to play in Eastro, they all looked at me funny because I was, I think, 23 at the time, which was already like ancient. Like, what's this guy doing here? Like, he should be in a retirement home. Like, why did he even come here to play? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, we've got the dreaded 12 Nexus, but at least it's not cross-spawn. I've heard that this can actually be stopped if it's not cross-spawn. But unfortunately for Sharp, he doesn't have gas. Instead, he's going for gasless. I think gasless can be okay, because at least he's going to have a fast command center himself. But I personally like 11 gas or 12 gas a little bit better, just because you can pull and actually kill this. So Stork, I think, is going to be very content with this. He needs to, of course, scout and figure out, hey, this is gasless. Once he knows that it's gasless, you know, he could just go one gate, not build any zealots, and probably be fine.
Yeah, both players not too lucky with the scouting, but I think this is really good for Stork. I mean, it's the most economic opening for Protoss, and then against the second most economic opening for Terran. And he's gonna get the scout soon. I think Sharp looks like he still wants to do a little bit of a marine push, but looks like Stork went straight for gas, and I don't see a second gate, so I think that's good for him.
Yeah, he didn't get scouted, so he just goes one gate for now. May build a second gate in a second, but now that the probe gets in and sees, hey, this guy gasless expanded, and he didn't actually build Marines nonstop, he sees that there's only one. If I was Stork, whoa, wait a minute, what's this?
That must have been a forge. So he was going forge, and now he's getting the core instead.
Okay, that's good then. Hopefully that was a forge cancel, because he definitely doesn't need it. I see that there was a pylon at the natural, so I think you're right that was... Oh, wait. It's on the high ground. That's kind of weird.
Well, I don't think it could have been anything else than a forge. Yeah. I don't think he accidentally canceled his core.
Nope.
It's like he canceled it as soon as he got into the Terran base, so it does make sense. How would you play this out now if you were the Terran, knowing that your gasless expand versus 12 Nexus?
I would probably, if I was Sharp and I had his Vulture control, I would either 2-fact or I would go Starport, because I think he can still go like immediate start. Oh, well, he probably can't actually. His Starport would start at like 420, and I think that this guy's going to go Robo before range, so maybe not Starport, but either 2-factory or I guess Armory. Now that I'm looking at the timing, yeah, there's the second factory. I think in the last season when he got gas stolen, for example, on, what was it, Blitz, he went into like 3 or 4-fact. I don't think he's going to do that, but 2-fact Vulture, that could be good.
Yeah, and it does look like he's going for the 2-fact, and also his scouting SCV stayed alive for such a long time. Like, we could see that Stork doesn't quite have the moving shot micro of like Snow, for example. And because of that, Sharp basically saw everything. He saw the Robo. He doesn't really have to worry about DTs or like, super quick Reaver. Like, he's just building 2-fact, getting his gas, playing super economic. So I like that for Sharp.
Well, there's the 5-minute Armory, so he's going to be really rushing those upgrades. I hope he gets a fast Academy, because Stork is well known for the carriers, and he's now gotten the best build possible with the 12 Nexus. He's now already mining his second gas, right? So he's going to have a big gas bank, and we just need to figure out where's that gas bank going to go. For now, it looks like he's going to be using it to go into 3-gate Goon plus Observer and Probe on the move to build a third Nexus already. There's the Academy that I was hoping to see.
Yeah, quick Academy. Yeah, like you said, very quick probe to the third base, so both players playing very, very greedy. The Vulture does try to get out and sneaks by the Dragoon. So finally a little bit of map presence from Sharp. Like, yeah, not too much going on right now, just both players macroing up. We'll have to see what the transition is going to be for Stork.
I can't believe he went gasless expand and then went Vulture first, and he somehow gets it out onto the map and it doesn't die. He has the mine upgrade already done, so he's going to lay some mines, but he doesn't get it into the top middle base to deny that. He doesn't know that a probe is already there in position. In fact, the Vulture is basically already dead, so he's going to probably just turn it around and repair. Observer already out also, so he's going to come in here and see, hey, this guy went 2-fact. He's gone for fast armory, and I really do think that we could see carriers start pretty soon. Well, maybe not. Now that there's already a third factory and scanners are done, maybe you don't want to go Stargates now.
Yeah, I think if that was Stork's plan though, he's probably still going to go ahead with it. But yeah, Sharp, I feel like Sharp got a really nice start. All his tech is up, he's getting his upgrades, going up to 4-fact, probably 5-fact pretty soon.
And the Observer left the base for some reason. I guess he may have thought that Sharp may have double expanded since he only saw 2 factories. But now he comes back and he should see that, hey, there's 5 factories coming. And Stork, because he didn't commit to, the Stargates or anything crazy like that, he can go Citadel, he can flood gates. And versus Sharp's build order, I think that would be perfect. He just needs to have a lot of ground units.
Yeah, you think Sharp is gonna gear up for a bit mid-game push, or maybe just take his third base with the units he's making from these factories?
I think this is, well, wait a minute, that's probably a starport. I was gonna say I think that this is gonna be a timing, but now that that's a starport, I have a feeling that this was just gonna be for a third base, and he's gonna start scaling into his fast +2. For a second, I really thought it was gonna be a 1-1 time. Oh, wait, that is not a starport. That is an eBay, maybe? It doesn't look like a factory, so maybe it is a 5-fact 1-1 or +1 really quick timing.
Yeah, it does kind of look like that, and it's kind of weird to see the 5-fact up so quick. Like, Stork is still only on 3 gates. Now he's adding the Citadel, but he's gonna need a lot of gateways pretty soon if he wants to defend against this.
Yeah, he needs to have, like, I would say at least 7 gates to stop this. Okay, that's an eBay. So 5-fact, now he's putting up a turret ring. Maybe he scanned the natural and saw that there was a support bay over there, and now that he's thinking about moving out, he needs to get that turret ring to make sure he doesn't get countered. But, okay, here we go. Now, there's 6 tanks. Yesterday we saw, kind of a similar-ish timing from Speed around this time, but it was 9 tanks, not 6. So I'm not sure how well this is going to do.
Let's see what Stork can do. The Observer gets taken out. He's trying to delay with the Reaver, but he does end up flying home. And now we see the addition of gateways, so
9 gate. That's kind of like pushing the upper bounds of production, I think, at this point in the game, since you do have good econ, but it's not super crazy. But here we go. Here's the +1 timing. Sharp has a lot of supply. I mean, to have 110 supply at 930 is pretty nuts, but it's PvT. Protoss is also going to be high up in supply also. Now, we were talking about the Vulture harassment. 1 sneaks into the natural. It's going to disrupt the mining a little bit. Gets 2, maybe 3?
yeah, that's a little bit painful, chasing that Vulture with a slow Zealot. He's going to end up getting 4 kills, it looks like. Meanwhile, Sharp did take the middle. I think he shouldn't wait too long with pushing, because these gates are probably finished now, and speed for the Zealots as well, speed for the shuttles right now. And he does end up taking a third, but he might get caught here in the center. No, Stork pulls back.
Okay, he didn't get caught, and actually, okay, I'm starting to make sense of this build. Is he has the gasless opener, he has the +1 weapon, he went into 5 fat quickly, but he didn't want Protoss to you know, scale into the mega tech like arbiters and carriers. He wanted to force units, and he's gonna snipe this shuttle. That's great. So he forces a lot of units, and you can see now Stork is like almost maxed on just gateways. And Sharp just falls back and takes the 3rd base. I think Sharp is in a really good spot as long as he doesn't get busted.
Yeah, that was some pretty nifty strategic play to make it seem like he's gonna push just to force a counter, which Stork did counter with all these gates and getting speed. And now, yeah, like you said, if Sharp just stays defensive, then Stork probably feels like he has to do something with all these units he invested into. But it's gonna be hard to attack into this.
Yeah, all Sharp needs to do is set up that like depot wall at his 3rd base, float his barracks and eBay over top of his army. It is a 40 supply lead for Stork, so he may just go for it, but he also has to consider that this guy went gasless, and he knows that Terran players can shoot up really heavily in supply. He's going to go for it anyways. I don't think that this is going to work. Reaver, I mean, all the pros can use Reavers, but, you know, Snow is really the master of Reaver. Okay, this is not going to work. Look at how fast the Zealots die, and there's still a lot of tanks left over. There's even tanks on the high ground. Actually, this one way better than I thought, but it's still just a trade of supply.
Yeah, not the worst trade for Stork. Yeah, that could have gone a lot worse. I mean, he went into such an entrenched position with only 1 shuttle. I do think that was good for Sharp. He survives. All those units that Stork invested into didn't pay off. Now Stork is taking a 4th base on the right side, but he's really got to think about adding some tech like either Storm or Arbiters or anything, because this isn't going to keep trading very well.
Now this might do never mind, I was going to say this might do very well because there's no mines over on the left side, and those tanks were very far forward. The Zealots get on top of them, so he will trade, to be fair, a lot of Zealots for 3 tanks and a couple of Vultures, but it still resets the tank count. But you can see that supplies have now shot down considerably for Stork. In fact, it's almost even supply now. Luckily for Stork, he did take mid-right, so he does have a 4th base, and it's kind of in a sneaky position. Like, Sharp may think that Protoss is just all in here because he has mine set up at all of top right except for that 1/3 base.
Oh, but man, he's loading up a tank and 2 Vultures, so he's probably going to go to the right side of the map, and he's probably going to find that base. And Stork did finally add some Templars, but yeah, this game didn't really work out for him. Now the Vultures are getting out on the map. He did see the dropship, I think, with the Observer on the right, so he's going to be able to defend that. But now we're going to see Sharp do what he does best, and that's use Vultures everywhere on the map. He's going to snipe these Templars, gets 2 of them, maybe a 3rd. Yeah, that's really nice.
Stork is in trouble now. He needs to get some damage done with this drop. Like, yes, Terran just lost a ton of Vultures, but we'll take that trade any day of the week to get that many Templars. The Storm goes off, and he does hit a couple of SCVs, which is nice, but this drop is going towards top middle. However, this is Radion. It's just so hard to make drops work at this particular base. Zealot randomly gets into the main and will take down some turrets, which is nice, but the real threat for me is Sharp got his science facility pretty damn quick, and he's already at 1-1. I think he's going to be at 2-2 pretty quickly.
And it's interesting, he ends up dropping top right, and he still doesn't know about the other base. So he actually might think that this is going to be Stork's very late 4th. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to matter, because, I mean, he's sending Vultures out again, he's getting his upgrades, he's looking healthy on 3 bases. These goons might get caught.
Well, unlike yesterday where Speed had like a massive gas bank, Sharp's gas is really low. I don't know if that's because he just started +3 or something, but the tank count looks like really thin. Like, there's only 3 trailing this army right now. So I don't think Terran can really attack. Not that he's going to attack on 130 or 140 supply anyways, but I'm just wondering, like, where's our firepower at? Like, we need tanks, right? Like, that's how you beat Protoss in big time engagements, but it kind of looks like his army's quite weak.
Yeah, he's not quite at the critical mass just yet, but I think he'll get there. And I always see Sharp do this, just move forward with a couple of Goliaths and a Vessel and just killing so many observers. Even when he doesn't have the Vessel, he likes to really scan and kill the observers. I think that's super strong. But actually Stork is now maxed. He's got Templars, he's got shuttles, so depending on his control, like, he might be able to fight back against Sharp's mech army.
Sharp has a couple of vessels already. I think he has double or triple EMP available now. But Stork is on the... Wow, Stork is really, like, hell-bent on just attacking this third base. He once again comes in with the shuttle. Now that should have Templars in there. There we go. There's one. Okay, a bit of a whiff there. Now that was a good storm onto the tanks at the bottom side. They're so clumped. They're so weak. Takes down 3 out of the 6. But everything is clumped up here, and the goons can't get in.
That was a huge storm on those tanks, but the D-Matrix now and the reinforcements from behind, and yeah, the depot and the Sim City did an amazing job not letting Stork in. And as you can see now, the supplies are even, so that was a little bit of an attack that didn't work out very well for Stork. It looked good in the beginning. If he would have had another shuttle with Templars, that could have been a great trade, but unfortunately he didn't. And he only ended up killing a couple of tanks.
I'm worried now because there's still, that D-Matrix, for example, and Stork lost all of his Templars. That's going to take a long time for him to rebuild that and get the energy. And Sharp, he knows it, so you can see he's on the move. There's still, like I said, not that many tanks, which is the main issue. But of course, Stork doesn't know that there's not that many tanks, so he's hesitant to engage and will still micro backwards. But the tanks are here, man, and now they've cut off, not necessarily the rally point, but the choke where Protoss needs to send to save top middle. Looks like Shark might really just bust this down.
Yeah, he put mines in front, and now he's chasing down these Dragoons. I think it's going to be hard for Stork to break out. It does look like he has a pretty big army at his rally point.
Whoa.
But now Sharp can put mines everywhere. And
I'm surprised he didn't kill top middle. I guess maybe he thought it would take too long with the pylon wall and the cannons and stuff, and instead he branches off a few tanks towards bottom right, and he's gonna knock this down instead. I guess he figures, like, okay, well, even if I kill top middle, he's still gonna have 2 more bases on the right side, so it'll be 4 versus 3, but instead if I can knock down mid right and top right, then it's 3 versus 3 and I'll just win.
Interesting army movement from Sharp here. Just these Terrans at the high level are so good at just splitting off units and fighting everywhere, and he's gonna take out this base. Stork is trying to defend with Templars, but it's not gonna work. He still has top right. Looks like there's a lot of gates there as well, so he might be able to get some Templars there and some cannons. But I generally don't see a lot of Templars on the map right now, so he's gonna need those to be able to fight.
The DT's gonna immediately scan and kill. Wow. Okay, and even though there's only 3 tanks here, the 3 tanks are still gonna trade decently. Like, I can see, 3 or 4 goons got blown up. But Stork is gonna, Sharp is gonna retreat after killing this base. So he's content with taking down 1 base, getting his own 4th base up and running. So he'll still be even on base count. But he needs to scramble to get units over here because shuttles are on the way, and it looks like he will have them in time.
Yeah, 2 shuttles on the way, most likely going for a storm drop. There's a lot of SCVs on that base, so he has to be careful. But his entire army is sitting on that base right now, so he'll probably be fine.
Random 3 probes over here. Sharp will take that. Thank you for the gift, as those will all die. And this is still the dilemma from the mid game, where Stork is just stuck on gateways. No arbiters, no carriers, no high game tech versus even base 4 base Terran. And now the tank count is huge.
Yeah, and I think Sharp knows about that shuttle below his base.
I think so
it's just so hard to fight with this composition, right?
Yeah, like Shuttleman is great, but to play Shuttleman you have to have a lot of minerals because, of course, the shuttle costs 200 minerals each, and then you're loading them up with most likely zealots, so that's 400 minerals also. But he just doesn't have the econ to support that type of play because the main and natural is mined out, and now he's only on 2 bases. That was a good drop. Got a lot of SCVs. Keeps Sharp back once again. Protoss is maxed once more.
Yeah, that was definitely a nice drop. But just look at the minimap, there's so much red. The vultures are moving in, gonna snipe the Templars, and looks like we are not going to have the big engagement yet because Stork does back off. The upgrades are 2-2 for the Terran. Another storm drop. This one might be massive. Yeah, he kills a lot of SCVs. That's good. If he can kill the army just once, he might be able to overcome economically, but it's going to be hard to fight. And here we go. The Zealots are charging in. There's not a lot of mines, but there's a lot of vultures, and Goliaths kill the shuttles.
Yeah, and there's still not many tanks. Like, okay, that's why they're all back here. So that was a bit of an overextension from Sharp. He really wanted to make something happen, but didn't use half of his army. I don't blame him because he did EMP a huge blob of Zealots just a moment ago, but he's now lost a lot of SCVs to those drops. He's floated over his main command center all the way to bottom right, so he's going to have his 5th base up and running soon. And Stork has also gotten his 5th base up and running at that natural.
We just saw a shot of the base, and it doesn't look like Sharp has that many SCVs, and even this SCV transfer doesn't look that juicy. Yeah. So this kind of, if Stork can get a couple of more storm drops, then the SCV count would get super low. But of course that also means that there's going to be more supply into the army. And it looks like Sharp finally had enough. I don't know how far away he is from 3-3, but it can't be that far.
Yeah, it's got to be really close, and EMP will be clutch. No, but he doesn't have it. Okay, that is a lot of tanks now. There's no longer one tank in the army. That is, what, like 15 tanks right there? You know, even though Sharp is known to be the spider mine king, he really hasn't laid that many mines up until recently with, you know, the huge minefields across the map and bottom right. I really thought that there could have been opportunities for Stork to just go for it, but now I don't really think so. Now Sharp has a stranglehold over the middle, and he's moving over to the left side to make sure that this base doesn't get taken.
His army movement is crazy. Like half his army is moving left. There's units moving on the right. It's just like he's moving everywhere. He's got to have like 6 or 7 hotkeys right now for army already, and he's just moving them fluidly all over the map. Yeah, this goon will spot this base, but it will get taken down. But now Stork knows that that's another place where he can storm drop, and there's no turrets there yet, so he might actually go for that.
Well, there's that storm drop that you're talking about as the shuttle moves down to bottom right. Well, at least I hope it's a storm drop. Here comes Stork again, once more in the center. Sharp doesn't seem like he's set up right now, as he's just starting to retreat. There's the storm. He dodges some of it, but still loses a lot of SCVs. And Stork has good movement also. Like, at the same time, he's moved his entire army all the way down to bottom right.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if Sharp spotted this. Like, he probably knows about it, but this is a lot of units. Everything is siege, so this is going to be really hard to run into Stork. You got to back off. All right, he loses 5 goons and backs off, so...
Yeah, but critically that shuttle, well, it was alive. I see a Wraith now is going to take it down. So no more storm drop over here. And we've got some vulture harassment, but I don't think he can really harass that natural... Well, he's going to go for it. I think there's a cannon set up. Yeah, so this isn't going to do much.
I even makes the pylon to prevent the run by, but one vulture does get through. It's not going to be a crazy amount of damage here.
So we've got taken down, and vultures at top left are going to get some zealot kills. And we're still at just even supply, but Stork is clearing out the center, sort of, it looks like.
Yeah, but tanks and mines are everywhere, so really hard for Protoss to move around. Every time he moves anywhere, he just donates units like he is right now.
Yeah, why are these tanks here?
What is he doing? Why is he running to the center like that?
Well, I think he thought the entire army was bottom right, because why would there be 5 tanks in the middle, undefended? But they just get gifted like 7 or 8 Dragoons, and that may have actually been enough to tip the scales in favor of Sharp as he moves across. And of course, if these mines connect, it's definitely going to tip the scales.
I mean, even these zealots, they're all like half HP by the time they get there. They just ran through everything. And now Sharp has a huge amount of tanks. Big storm drops here trying to fight back, but I don't think it's going to be enough. He pushes Sharp back just a little bit, but there's a massive army sitting behind there.
Yeah, this could be all that Sharp needed to push to victory at top right. He kills the entire army. I'm looking at Stork's face right now to see if there's any reaction, but I think Sharp knows that he's got this in the bag. If he can knock down this natural, it'll put Stork on one base mining essentially. Like, I realize he has top left coming up and running pretty soon, but there's no probes over there, so he can't even transfer. Zell's going to run into... Okay, run into a bunch of tanks. I mean, this is as good of an engagement as you can get. There's no vulture support, and they're still getting mowed down. Oh, never mind. There's a ton of tanks over here, too.
Yeah, Sharp. I wonder how many SCV Sharp has. It's gonna be like 40 or something, because his army is just enormous, and there's units everywhere. Now this base gets taken out, there's vultures there, and I think this is the nail in the coffin for Stork. Not much anymore he can do in this game. These are his last few units, the Dragoons, and even they are getting killed. GG.
Yep, GG comes out. I think Stork had a valiant effort there. I think he did what he needed to do, which was, flood the gates, go Zealot Storm. But Sharp had a good strategy. Show the 5-fact, act like you're attacking, back off, then go for 3 or 4 base, and just keep Protoss maxed on this gateway army with no late game tech.
Yeah, I think Stork just didn't have... I mean, he kind of almost made a bit of a comeback when he started killing all these SCVs. He was like a few... Like, usually when you see Protoss play this like this, you see them with like 3 or 4 shuttles full of Templars, right? But every time he fought, he had like only 1 shuttle, maybe 2 shuttles. And he was like a couple of storm drops away from potentially being able to turn this game around. But overall, yeah, just strategically, I think he was a little bit behind after the opening, going mass gates and then unable to really do any damage with his bust.
Yeah, and you're right. The SCV count was pretty low at just 55. A lot of times Terrans try to get to like 60 to 65. So a little bit on the lower end gave him the huge army with tons and tons of tanks. And Stork also pretty low on the probe count, sitting at just 51. Even though Stork had +3 weapon, he didn't have like +3 armor, +3 shields or anything like that. So as you can see, his army just gets absolutely melted.
Yeah, a bit of unfortunate army movement there at the end. But actually 55 SCVs is more than I would expect. He must have rebuilt quite a few.
Yeah, and this is pretty much the last engagement, essentially, the last big engagement at least, where he really needed to get like huge storm connections, and he got good storm, but he's just down. Like, you can't be down versus Terran, not when they have this amount of tanks, and not when they're just kiting backwards into siege mode.
Yeah, there's just so many units from Sharp, and just not quite enough from Stork. I think he needed like 8 Templars there, and he only had like 3, so...
Well,
A lot of
Sharp,
Sharp fans in the audience.
yeah, Sharp's a big name. I mean, especially after last season where he made top 4, and now he's looking just as good as he did last season. So we're going to be going into a break, and then we'll be back with our TVT, which is Royal versus Light. All right, we are back. We're going to be going into our TVT now. We just saw Sharp take down Stork, so he'll be waiting in the winner's match. So we know that the winner's match is going to be a TVT. But Light versus Royal, this is going to be one of the better TVTs that we could have gotten. I think Light faced off versus Royal a few years ago during Royal's big run, and Royal, if I remember correctly, ended up beating Light. So there's a little bit of history between these two players. We can see that Royal doesn't have that many games TVT, but overall 50% win rate, not bad.
Yeah, pretty good. I think Royal just TVT never seemed like his best or worst matchup to me, but he should be pretty good at this matchup. But Light, of course, is a different animal. Like watching Light play, it's probably the most impressive point of view I've ever seen in StarCraft, to be honest. I don't know how you think about that, but
Yeah, Light's pretty godlike. He's really good, but for whatever reason, even though he has been champion of ASL, he's like kind of hit or miss in tournaments. Sometimes he has a huge run, wins the whole thing. Like we saw in the graphic in the earlier parts of the day, his past 3 seasons, he's bombed out in the round of 16. So hopefully this is another good season for him because he's one of my favorites. Um, I'm trying to think. Like you were saying, he's just a really good. Like he doesn't force stuff. He like waits for the game to come to him. Like when I watch him play TVT, when he like, let's say he goes 12 gas, he scouts the opposing player for last, and the opposing player goes command center first. Like he doesn't force anything. He knows that he's behind. He waits for them to make a mistake. Then he capitalizes it, makes a slight gain from that mistake, takes an expansion, for example, waits for the next mistake, and then after you've made multiple mistakes versus him, he overcomes that deficit and just closes the game out. But I don't think Royal's somebody like that. I think Royal, if he can get a good lead in the beginning, will just compound that lead, but we'll see.
yeah, we'll have to see. It looks like we are about to get ready to get into this game here. They also have to think about, they're going to play TVT right now, and Sharp's going to be watching. So that's going to be a little bit of an advantage for Sharp, being able to see the builds. But
yeah, I don't think any player is going to like hide a build waiting to show it in the winner's match. I mean, this tournament's hard enough as it is. You don't want to really hide anything. These are some Royal fans, his AKA is Kimchi Boy, play on his name. And then this is a Light fan.
you like kimchi, Nyoken, when you were in Korea?
It was okay. I guess you get used to it. It's pretty spicy, but other than that, it
Yeah,
was all right.
I had a hard time getting used to kimchi and never really got to like it. I prefer eating sauerkraut.
Okay. Well, they do have very spicy food over there. There's something called bulldog, which is like fire flavor, and it's incredibly spicy. One time I just ordered it on pizza. I was like, well, let's see how this is. Never again, man. Way too much.
Yeah, I've had similar experiences.
Just gotta stick to that donkas, which is like breaded
Yeah,
pork.
yeah, exactly. But I think the first time I was in Korea, this guy called Wani, he was the esports manager. He ordered me a meal and he was like, "It's a little bit spicy." It's like legit the most spicy thing I've ever had in my life. I couldn't eat it.
Yeah, that's just how it is. I'm like, how spicy is it? A little bit spicy. I'm like, okay, no, I can't do it because I know a little bit spicy is super spicy in the foreign world. Well, our players are ready, so we're gonna get into. Oh, I forgot it's best of one. So we're gonna get into our just single game here of Royal versus Light on Radeon, and we do have Royal in the top left.
All right, and we have Light in the top right, and Nyoken, I'm thinking about it, and I just really want Light to do well because I don't want to turn on his stream later and watch him be so very sad, like he likes to put on his stream title whenever he loses a game. So let's hope he does well today.
Yeah, what's the title that he usually uses? Super sad or something like that?
Yeah, super sad, right? Which is weird because the whole title stream will be in Korean, but then only the word super sad will be English.
I know, man. That's what I tried to explain to people that I met in Korea. I'm like, what's the issue with like your entire advertisement, all the speakings in Korean, and then like the graphic at the very end is in English? I just don't understand that.
Yeah, it's interesting.
We're looking at the past 3 season results for both players. Surprisingly, both of them have been stuck in the round of 16. None of them have made it into the round of 8. And you expect players like Light and Royal to do very well in tournaments, but recently just not had the results. Nothing crazy coming for this game, like there's no 8 racks, but we're still waiting to see whether it's going to be gasless or 12 gas.
Yeah, maybe even a quick CC first here, but no, it's gonna be barracks.
Okay,
what do you prefer to open? Just 12 gas every game, or do you think gasless is good?
Well, I know gasless is great, but you have to be able to defend the all-ins. For whatever reason, I just can't defend the all-ins, so I never go gasless. It's either 12 gas or 12 or 11 gas or command center first, because at least with command center first, I can get the gas slightly faster and have mega econ, but I really think gasless is probably the best build. Every time I watch it, as long as you can defend the all-ins, you just have so much stuff. But we do have Royal actually go for an 11 gas, which I don't see pros ever do this. I wonder how he'll use it, because unlike Terran versus Protoss, for example, getting out of Vulture like 3 to 4 seconds faster doesn't really get you much in TVT, so I'm curious how he's going to use this.
Yeah, that's a 224 factory, so that's super quick. But yeah, like you said, getting the Vulture out quicker. I mean, I guess he can only make 1 Marine, but then he also has 1 Marine less to start shooting at the opponent's barracks. So I'm not sure if that's a good trade-off, but yeah, getting that Vulture quicker doesn't really do anything for you, unless you're getting all in.
Yeah, so I actually do 11 gas quite a lot, but I'm not playing in ASL. I'm not playing people that have 3,000 plus MMR rating. What I like to do is I like to go instant add-on, but Light has gotten his factory so quick, and he knows that this was an 11 gas, because there's no way you can get a 223 factory with a 12 gas, that I'm curious how Light is gonna respond to this. Like, is he gonna build tons of ultras? He's been pushed out of the main, so he doesn't know whether it's gonna be an add-on or not. And actually, it is gonna be a fast vulture. I'm kind of surprised that it's not instant add-on.
It is one of those things in TVT, right? It looks like both sides are gonna expand, but now it's like whoever builds the add-on first for a little bit of time has 1 less vulture. So then there is like a small timing window where the other Terran, if he doesn't make an add-on himself, can push you. So we'll have to see who makes an add-on when.
Okay, so now it's all of a sudden got really interesting. It's really subtle why it's gotten interesting. It's because the SCV of Light came back in, and it didn't die to the Marines. He saw the Vulture. So now, he knows that the guy went 11 gas. He knows the guy went Vulture. He doesn't know whether there's an add-on or not. So now, Light has to respect, like you were saying, that this guy could have built 3 Vultures versus 2, for example, and just send it. And if he goes add-on, he's going to be in trouble. But actually, because Royal went add-on now, I was going to say, I thought Light would not attack, but he's actually on the move.
Yeah, he moved out very aggressively. I feel like that could have backfired, but since there was an add-on from Royal, it won't. And it looks like Royal is just building a tank. Still going for a second factory, which is sort of hidden in the back. I don't know if that's on purpose, but that's interesting placement. Usually, if you see a tank, you normally just get your own tanks, right?
Yeah, a lot of times you do just go your own tank. If it was like a 3-pack or a 4-pack, then he might just still flood vultures and just try and overrun with speed and mines. But yeah, this factory was really well placed. A lot of Terran players are spreading their factories quite a bit, but this really looks like it's a Wraith follow-up. And that means it's going to force out Goliath, which of course you don't want in this situation. You just want tanks and vultures.
And he just barely missed that factory by like the tiniest of margins. There's another building on the top side of Royal's base. I'm not sure what that is. But yeah, probably Light will... Yeah, Light already has that armory, so he's going Goliath. So he 100% thinks that he's playing against Wraith, and it's 3-fact. So now there's a bit of a timing, perhaps, for Royal against these Goliaths.
It definitely could be. Mass tank, mass vulture. Goliaths have, a lot of health. They're pretty tanky. They take almost no damage to vultures. But there's just going to be so much stuff here, and he's already down What is he down literally 3 tanks already? This is already nightmarish for Light, assuming that Royal goes for timing. If Royal doesn't go for a timing and just sits here, I think it's okay, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Light is planting a lot of mines everywhere, so Royal probably can't really do much before he has scanners, but I think he is building that academy. At the same time, Light also got a single tank, so he is not going like full on Goliaths. But yeah, interesting opening here. 2 tanks now from Light. These mines really need to do a good job slowing down Royal's push. He's going for it now. I don't know, do you feel like you can just push in with the tanks and the vultures will kill the mines, or would you wait for scan?
You gotta wait for scan. This is really dangerous because he doesn't know how they're placed. Like, that minefield right there, for example, triggers 3 mines, but one of them connects, and now that tank is one-shottable from another tank. So this is very dangerous. I think Royal, he doesn't really need to commit any farther than this. He can be content with just sitting here, because now he's, you know... Oh, God, wow, he's actually going to go. His tank is so low, man. I guess he still has more stuff, but this is pretty risky. Now, if he has Siege, that's a whole different ballgame, because I think Light skipped Siege for a long time.
Yeah, and he's bringing those SCVs so he can finally repair. Looks like he does have Siege, and this is a big Siege up right now. He will instantly kill a tank. That's huge, actually. He has the barracks for vision, and Light is under a lot of pressure right now. His Siege is not even done yet, so Royal can just push up for free, and now this is going to be so hard to break. Looks like Light will pull some SCVs and start fighting, but he's already losing so much, and this is looking awful for Light right now.
This is what happens when you read the build order wrong. This is absolute destruction from Royal. There is no way Light can come back from this. You know, yesterday we saw Speed have one of the best comebacks all time, but this is TVT, man. With mines and tanks, you ain't coming back from this, and there it is. Royal with a very solid TVT and just crushes Light.
Wow, man, GG. I mean, that just goes to show that if that barracks would have been like one more to the left, he would have seen that second factory and probably his entire response changes, and he wouldn't lose that game. So, and that feels a little bit rough to lose like that, but well played from Royal, and his factory placement was immaculate, and it really paid off.
I love Royal's reaction with the head bobbing, thinking, yeah, that was great play. That reminds me of some of the reactions I've seen Artosis do in real life, where he really loves it. And it was perfect, man. Now all of a sudden it's given me some ideas on how to use 11 gas, because as I was saying, I mean, I do this myself, but not like this. The games never go like this. I usually just go straight tank and expand, but this was an impressive timing. And you can see that Royal cut obviously a lot for this. 36 to 28 workers, but he just had so much stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just the fact that Light didn't have Siege, right? Like, if Light would have had Siege, I mean, he's 10 workers up. If he would have had Siege, I think he can defend this, but even now he's making Vulture speed, so there's just no Siege anywhere in sight.
Yeah, wow.
Very nice timing by Royal.
Yeah, I've noticed this from pros, like watching some TVTs, is that they really skip siege mode for a really long time. I really did think that was siege mode coming, but the fact that it was speed, oh my goodness, man, like that seems like a very big blunder. And he still lets it go. He's still just trying to hold with just vultures, essentially.
Yeah, it really feels like Light just didn't think he was playing against like something that was just like almost all in, pretty much, because of the low SCV count. Probably just was expecting like a normal game where he would have had enough units to be able to push back. But yeah, very interesting. I mean, this looks like a build that even I can use on the ladder, so...
Well, that's
Thank you, Royal.
Yeah, thank you, Royal. That's how some of these pros make TVT look. It's like, dude, you just made it look so easy. Oh, I just build 3 tanks and rally vultures and I just win the game. And then you go and try it. And then first off, the opponent stops it. And then second off, you're down 10 workers. And it's like, well, wait a minute. What did I do wrong here? I botched I didn't win the game. And now I'm just down 10 workers. It's definitely not easy to do.
Yeah, it just works because as soon as Light sees your base with a Rex, all these calculations go off in his head, and he's you know, taking care of so many possible openings that if you hit the one where he's not, if you hit a really sharp timing and he doesn't know what he's playing against, it just has a high chance of working.
Yeah, and what was surprising to me was despite seeing the one factory, which looked like it was going to be starports, I don't remember seeing a Goliath in the entire army. Do you? I only saw tanks and vultures, so I don't even know what Light was kind of doing. Because, I mean, for all he knows, there could have been like race banking up and there was still no anti air.
Yeah, well, he did have the armory, so he could have quickly built some glides, I guess. But yeah, he wasn't like full on countering raids. So he was sort of making a build that looked like that would be able to deal with everything, but not really committing to like one defense line.
Yeah.
Because he had the armory, he had the academy, he could have dealt with cloak raids. But yeah, not with the three tanks super fast siege.
Yeah, well, we're in the Live Mobile ad, so we can take some time to talk about some other things. So I was talking to you yesterday. New Lineage game out, man. Throne in Liberty. I've been looking forward to it, but it looks like it's got some gotcha type of stuff in it. I don't know what you thought about what I was showing you yesterday. Are you gonna try and play it a little?
Well, just because it's free, right? I might check it out, but I'm not too excited for it. I mean, it looks like a mobile game.
Yeah.
It's and it's like one of those games that was in development for such a long time, and they tried to initially make it like a mobile game where you could auto farm, but
Oh
then
my
like
gosh.
a year before it launched, they like changed direction and they removed the auto farm because of the feedback of the players. But now it's sort of like in between, like it's not really good at anything, but you know, because it's free, it might as well. It might be fun for a little bit. I'm gonna give it a try probably.
Yeah, we know that you're diehard Lineage too, man. But
Yeah, and you know, the only reason I ever got addicted to Lineage 2 was because I was reading the Team Liquid forums, and I think Legionnaire or someone else that was, or maybe Recrull, or somebody that was close to Elky was talking about how he was addicted to Lineage 2. And I was like, man, if Elky is addicted to this game, it must be good. So then I checked it out too, and then 3 years later, I came out on the other side, and I had just played Lineage.
yeah. What level were you? Still probably like only like level 40 or something?
I mean, that was you know, we played together, so
Yeah.
we were like max level on the NA servers back then, like 2005 or whatever it was.
I do remember because that's how I met you. Because well, I mean, technically we met before then because I made a mistake going to the Null channel one day and I was told no foreigners allowed as I got the ban hammer from somebody.
Yeah, no Chobo foreigners, man.
yeah.
Koreans only.
Only Draco and you are allowed in that channel.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, and that
that's
was funny. Then we totally randomly ended up on the same server. Like we didn't know each other, like you said. But maybe you were talking to Skew because Skew was playing there as well.
yeah, that's also how I met Skew. Well, actually I was already playing Lineage at the time, and then I met Skew at WCG, and I was in the middle of my second class change, and I was like, I actually directly asked Skew, I was like, dude, what should I go? Should I go Planeswalker? Should I go Silver Ranger? And he's like, dude, you got to go Silver Ranger because back then Skew was friends with all the Chinese farmers, right? And Final Boss and them running 10 Silver Ranger accounts through Dragon Valley and stuff, killing drakes. He's like, yeah, Silver Ranger's the best, but I went for the dagger, of course, man.
Yeah. And you got to stab people.
And then you were going Silver Ranger
Yeah, I
yourself.
ended up playing a Silver Ranger. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Elf has definitely the Elf race definitely had the most swag. So we both played the coolest race.
Yeah, the elf with the Theka outfit. I That was my favorite gear in the game. The white outfit with the orange tint.
Yeah, actually, you know, Throne of Liberty has a lot of references to the original game. I think there's even an area called the Ant Nest, and it was definitely supposed to be Lineage 3. Like even some of the items and stuff, they look very similar. So you might enjoy it.
Yeah, I did try it out. What, like a month or two ago, and it did remind you there, like you said, there's certain aspects that reminded me of Lineage, but my big issue from playing it was the camera. There's something off with the camera in
Yeah,
my
it
opinion.
feels weird, right?
Yeah, it feels weird. I don't know how to explain it. It's just so I don't know how long I'm gonna play it, but I am gonna give it a shot. I've told my friends about it, like 80s Mullet, so we may like get a group going. But we're gonna be going into a break, guys, and we'll be back with our winners match, which is Sharp facing off versus Royal. All right, we're back, getting into our winners match in just a second. Always a fun time during that break with the what is it, Pictionary type of game. I always love how the players just try and just speak and don't act. Like, what was Light doing? Try to just talk to Stork, and Stork's like, I can't hear you, man. Like, yeah, you gotta act it out, Light. But yesterday, Speed and Hero did a really good job. You could see at the very end they got 7 answers right, which was crazy. The clues that Speed gave were fantastic. But yeah, we're in our final. Or go ahead.
Yeah, it looked like they were having a lot of fun. I'm kind of wondering, like, you become a pro gamer, right? And you want to play the game, and all of a sudden you find yourself on some stage and you have to act out some Pictionary thing. It's like, what? Well, how did I end up here? You know, why do I have to do this?
Yeah, some of the clues were hilarious. Like Barrick's clue about the Ultralisk. Like, I think actually a StarCraft 2 player would have gotten that right, because the Ultras, they do look like that, and they hit the entire army. But I think StarCraft 1 players don't think about Ultras like that. Like, they don't look at that animation. But yeah, that is true. How did we get here? I actually completely missed the maps, by the way, but it looks like our first map is going to be Deja Vu, so a pretty standard one between Royal and Sharp.
Yeah, let's get into the game.
Okay, so in the bottom left, coming off of a really solid win versus Light, it's Royal.
And then it's, of course, his opponent Sharp in the top left.
Yeah, so if I was Sharp watching that game, I would be really worried about Royal here, because, I was talking about it earlier. Sometimes Royal goes for some crazy builds, but can be picked apart. But the way he played that last game, I mean, it was super solid, even though he was kind of vulnerable to early game vultures. Because he went for the 11 gas, it allowed him to get the add-on quickly. And I love how he built the depot and then re-landed his racks next to it to make sure that, hey, vultures can't just run in here and do damage. So I wonder how Sharp will respond here. Is he going to try and play greedy? Is he going to go gasless? Is he just going to go, typical 12 gas?
Yeah, Royal really seems like one of those players that's really hard to play. Like, Sharp just has to hope that he gets some quick scouting intel. Because those type of players who are not afraid to mix it up and do these crazy builds are always the hardest ones to play against. And that kind of thing can also get into your mindset that just like, man, what is he going to do? He can do anything. He can hit me with any kind of timing. And then it becomes hard to play. So I think for Sharp, it's just important to play his own game, not be too worried, and just execute his build order. Obviously, he has certain scouting patterns and stuff that he always does. And just play a normal game, I think.
Well, there's the racks. Royal not going to 11 gas this time. Sharp not going to 11 gas either. Not that I was expecting that. But there's the 12 gas from both sides.
Yeah, so a bit more standard so far.
Okay.
Also, what do you think about these positions? Like, is this particularly good for anybody? It looks like Royal's third base is further away from Sharp's.
Yeah, I guess I would prefer Royal's position, just because, like you said, the third base is farther away. If Sharp was to lose any sort of control over the mid-left, then his third base could be breached pretty easily. I do want to point out that Royal scouted somewhat quickly. I mean, it's not a huge deal, because you can see Sharp is also scouting pretty fast, but like 12 or 13 scout is really not that common in TVT. But unfortunately for Royal, he's going to probably scout second, because I can't imagine him not going cross scout here, especially since he's going to see Sharp's SCV. Yeah, there, he just fixed it.
Yeah, and so, yeah, pretty good for Sharp so far. He gets the first scout, and he sees that Royal 12 gas just like him. He sees the SCVs pulled off the gas. I think Sharp also pulled off SCVs off the gas, so it's just going to be a 1-Rex expand here from both players.
Yep, 2 Marines from both sides. This is just the standard play. In the past, it used to be 1 Marine. In the old days, it used to be 0 Marines, but 2 Marines actually have really high DPS, helps you with all-ins, and also pushes the barracks away pretty fast. And SCV does get denied, But in my experience watching Sharp, he doesn't seem to be someone that will like one base all in you that often. So I don't think he really even needs to consider that. It's an instant add-on. Okay, this can be dangerous if Sharp goes immediately, but this is where it comes into play, where how well do you know your opponent? Is he someone that sends even just his first vulture? Because if he doesn't, then Royal can definitely get away with this.
Yeah, and it looks like the Rax is going to be there way too late to see any of this, and Sharp actually gets his own add-on, so I don't think he's probably not going to push with only one vulture. He's probably stay defensive. But I guess you can like move forward and wait until you see the enemy vulture, or does that put you in danger of actually getting move commanded and losing your vulture?
Well, I guess I'm not sure exactly how long it takes for a vulture to get across the map, but I think build time for a vulture is like 19 seconds. I feel like 19 seconds sounds like the time a vulture would get across there, so you definitely don't want to send it and run into 2 vultures, because then you're dead. So I think it was smart for him to back off. Of course, in retrospect, we know that he could have gotten in here, killed these Marines, killed this SCV. But now, Royal's got him away with a single... He's just going to send the tank.
Yeah, well, he knows there's no mines yet, right? So he can just go on the map. He doesn't really have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
But Sharp here, he's going to see the fast second factory, so it's not going to be like last game where the tech was hidden. So Sharp knows what he's playing against.
The way
this tank is going all the way to the base. This is crazy.
Yeah, you do have to be careful about this, because a tank is already out. Wait a minute, where is it? Did he send it to the main? Oh no, it's okay.
It's in the back. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking like I just saw it, man. Where is it? But Royal has built another hidden factory, the third one over on the left side. There's a second tank being... Okay, you gotta be careful, man. Like, I realize it's 1 versus 1 for now, but it's not 1 versus 1 for
that tank
longer.
is just move commanded. What's going on? Look at... Did he forget about this tank? What's going on with this?
No, Royal! That's a gifted tank.
I can't believe that happened, man. He just gave away a tank for free.
Rally didn't get set, man. He thought he rallied to his natural or something, but it was still at the other player's natural.
Yeah, it's the damn StarCraft 1 UI, man. Sometimes they just don't listen.
Well, I gotta tell you, Sharp's in a big advantage right now, especially since he already has mines. And with it being deja vu, where you're on the low ground, you know, fighting uphill versus the center, Sharp, I think, could have just sat here and just had a massive advantage, especially since he still has his barracks alive. He could just float over there and see where everything is, but instead he backs off. So it does give Royal a bit of breathing room here.
Yeah, it's interesting that Sharp is even sending his barracks back. I'm wondering why. Wouldn't you want vision?
Yeah, I think maybe he's worried that the Marines would knock it down. I'm not sure exactly why he sent it. Okay.
Just cleaned out all those mines. That's nice. Look at the supply, man. It's a dense supply lead for Sharp, pretty much.
Yeah, I think once again Royal cut. I just have a feeling he cut because of how fast he went for a tank. So I think he's down workers, and now Sharp is probably up a considerable amount, and then, you know, probably even-ish with vulture count. Well, okay, he's gonna attack. I don't think this is going to work. It looks like there's just so many vultures for Sharp.
Yeah, this looks bad right now, but I guess they're trading fairly equal right now.
Wait. What?
There's 3 tanks from Royal, though.
Oh, there's 3 tanks. Okay, that's why. I'm sitting here watching. I'm like, didn't I see this guy have way more vultures? But he doesn't win the battle, and now, actually, Royal is even in supply. He's still got 3 tanks. All he needs to do now is send a couple of SCVs to repair. Uh-oh. Oh, he snipes that tank, but is there enough DPS with the 3 Goliaths?
Yeah, that last tank is going to fall as well, so that turned around quick.
Yeah,
let's lose his 3 tanks. He had a nice advantage. He would have just had to save those tanks.
It's
a little bit aggressive on the siege.
It's too bad that those SCVs were, what, 5 seconds late? Because you saw them get there right when the tanks exploded. If he could have repaired, I think he would have been in a dominant position on high ground, overlooking the natural while also denying the 3rd base. That would have been amazing. We do have a Wraith switch. I think this is perfect because I don't remember seeing an armory in Royal's base. In fact, what is that? Is that... No, that's 4 fact. Still no armory. I didn't see it in the main, and I still don't see a building in the natural.
Yeah, I think there's 0 anti-air, so that's going to buy him a lot of time. If he just gets a single Wraith out, he's going to push back the tanks. Right now it just seems like a bit of a battle for map control. He will chase this vulture, but at the same time 3 vultures are running into the natural. I don't know if there's anything there. There's only 1 vulture there, so he's definitely going to get some SUV kills. Gets at least 3 of them.
There's going to be the 4th one, so that's nice. Can he get... Oh, he gets into the main also. Okay, and this is critical because now he's going to see the starport.
Oh yeah, that's a big tell. Now he can make an armory, and it's not going to be as much as a surprise when the raids show up, because Sharp was also banking them, so he might have not showed them for a long time.
Yeah, I think he just started his armory. I can see also the starport went down in his main, or that's a command center. It's one of those. Either way, these 2 Wraiths are going to be super annoying. You can see he's pulled off like 5 SCVs to repair these tanks.
And the supply difference is just crazy. It's almost 20. It must be in SUVs or something. Or it's just all these vultures, I guess, that Sharp has, because he has a big army lead. These SUVs are coming in clutch for the repair, but I think Sharp could possibly push pretty soon here.
Yeah, he's got the mobility, he's got the overwhelming amount of vultures. These are very isolated tanks. Now he's setting up to deny this 3rd base. He also has a 3rd... Okay, this is really bad. He scans and he's like, dude, you still don't have a Goliath? He may be thinking that this guy's gone Wraith himself, because how on earth does this guy still have no Goliaths?
Yeah, and even just losing the mining time of these SUVs, and these SUVs getting picked off one by one. I think he killed 4 already. This is a big problem for Royal, and now there's no SUVs left to repair, and now he might be able to kill this tank. And again, 3 SUVs are killing, so there's so much indirect damage.
Oh, he gets that tank. Like you said, there's 3 more SUVs that are gonna fall. Finally, Goliaths come in here to save the day, but there's a vulture run by at the same time, and it was a 2-port race switch, 1 at the natural and 1 in the main.
Oh man, this is bad. He scouts the raids, he gets even additional SCV kills, and now I think Royal is in such a bad economic position, as well as Sharp being able to prepare perfectly now for the incoming raid switch. So really bad. Look how many SCVs died.
Yeah, he lost a ton there, but Sharp did lose a lot of vultures. So now if he tries to bust, I'm not so sure if it will work, because there's not as much stuff to buffer. I think what he's doing right now is smart, is just secure this position so that he can't have his 3rd base denied. No, Royal, you're sending 2 Wraiths. You know that this guy has at least 3.
Yeah, I think there's 2 raids coming from Sharp and the Goliath to defend this. There's no cloaks. These raids are literally just being suicided into the death. I really can't understand that move. I think Royal may be panicking a little bit.
That was definitely weird, especially since he knew that there were at least 3. So those 2 Wraith get slapped down. His 2-port Wraith has been scouted. He's now put down an add-on to trying to go into Cloak, I guess. But Sharp, he's on the move, and he's now going to spot that, hey, your vultures are out of position at top middle. He could use this to his advantage to try and knock down these tanks in the center of the map.
Yeah, these tanks on the right side are being taken out. Big siege in the center. I think these tanks are definitely gone, but Sharp also loses a couple of them. But he takes control of the map like this.
Yeah, and surprisingly, Royal is going to match the 3rd command center, but Sharp has a clear advantage over the center, also being up almost 40 supply. He could consider taking a 4th base if he wants. I'm curious what upgrades are. We can see that, yeah, there we go, +1 for Sharp and +0 for Royal because of how late his armory is. And we know that Sharp has had a starport for a while, so he may already have +2 on the way.
It looks like he's going to swing around and take out another tank. Now these vultures are going to the south, to the 3rd base, to deny that once again. This mine will actually not go off, so that tank does get saved. But a little bit of a breach of the position on the right side here for Royal, and it's going to be hard. If he doesn't secure that, then Sharp can just keep pushing into this 3rd base.
Yeah, I don't know what Royal can really do here. I will say this, I think if Sharp was to go for like even just a Vulture drop at the natural, that would be great because it could draw a lot of units back, and with him already having a supply lead, he could take that opportunity to bust the high ground. That's at least my thoughts here. But as far as Royal, he doesn't have a second add-on onto his starport, so mass drop for him, that's not a possibility. I don't think he can ever win the ground battle because, well, clearly Sharp has better econs and he's going to have better upgrades. So how else do you get back into this game? Race? I mean, at least he has double starport, but I don't think that's going to work either because it's going to be heavily reliant on gas.
Yeah, I think his only hope right now for Royal is just to defend super well and then hopefully get Sharp to throw away a lot of units. He does have these 3 vultures hiding in the top corner of the map on the right side. There's a CC being built there, so there's a potential for him to get a ton of SCV kills if those vultures don't get found. Other than that, he did get up his own 3rd base and he's sort of keeping in the supply range, so he might have a chance if he just hangs on and waits for Sharp to make a mistake, because I do feel like in TVT it's very easy to make a wrong engagement and then the game can just turn upside its head.
Siege mode and spider mines are definitely very dangerous when you're in a defensive position. But so far, Sharp is just content with being defensive himself. I mean, he has a complete stranglehold over the center. Like, the only way around the map is to go through the bottom right side with mass drops. The race and turrets are covering the left side. Obviously, tanks and vultures are covering everything else. Now, I guess Sharp is a little thin here. What is it? It only 4 tanks, and 2 of them are on low ground. So Royal should be able to clear this. Maybe?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, the vulture's coming to reinforce, but it's not enough, and those 4 tanks do get taken out. It's a little bit harder to contain someone because like Royal can break out on the left, on the right, and Sharp has to have units basically everywhere. So he's gonna have to make a lot of scanners and constantly keep track of the army movement of Royal. But Royal does gain a little bit of ground, but that position looks pretty well reinforced already with 6 tanks now being sieged.
Yeah, I did notice that the 2nd starport in Royal's main has now gotten an additional add-on. I guess now that he has his triple gas, he's going to try and go into dropships. I really guess that's the only thing he can do, because right now, if he could somehow get some drops over to the right side and secure bottom right, you know, he could potentially go sort of split map. And then if he gets to 4 or 5 gas, you know, at least that's like a playable amount of gas. But Sharp has some dropships coming himself. He's already up to 3.
Yeah, Sharp is just ahead in every metric. I would really like to see him build some turrets on the right side of the map, actually, on those bases. I'm not sure if he's aware of the dropships, but you know, dropships can be countered easily by your own dropships as well. So he's probably going to be ready for this.
Royal was setting up to try and pick off some tanks, but doesn't get them in position to knock them down. Almost maxed out army for Sharp. I think by now Sharp could have +2. It's been a while since we've seen a click onto his units to check the upgrades. Oh my gosh, are these vultures all gonna die?
He's just sending them to the top right. I'm not sure to what end. It's like there's units there to counter them as well. Sharp with his own vultures just completely ready, and yeah, these vultures just completely got donated. Sharp has his 4th base already set up. He's at 180 supply against 120, like this is becoming an overwhelming unit advantage.
Indeed it is. And that move that we saw him where he just sent across the center, I've also noticed this on Deja Vu, where the way those minerals are just laid out, units just can't be sent across the map very easily. Now, this is one way that Royal can get back into this game, is if he can split the defense somehow to top left. The race are slightly out of position. There's no turret right here. He needs to get to the main, and he looks like he might be able to. Or maybe not. Counter drop already in
sees
position.
it, and he's got 3 drops in his zone. There's turrets there. There's tanks there. I don't know. There's tanks on the low ground as well. Sharp is going to be able to unload on top. There's a lot of tanks still alive for Royal, and he does move into the main, so not a complete fail, but now he's just going to get dropped on. This will get cleaned up, so that didn't really do what Royal needed at all. And he's still just completely locked in. Yeah, there we go. GG, Royals concedes, and Sharp takes game 1.
Yeah, can't fault Royal for going for that move, even with seeing the turrets. I mean, what else can you do? You're just massively behind. Down upgrades, down econ, down bases. He had to make that play. I think he could have also gone to bottom right if he really wanted to play like an hour-long game. But other than that, he had no opportunity to go anywhere. It all came down to that rallied tank, man. Imagine if he had that additional tank with that one big attack that he did, you know, when he sieged on the high ground. That would have been enough to not let those Goliaths get those pickoffs.
Yeah, that was a very uncharacteristic mistake at this level. And from there, he was just kind of on the back foot the whole time. I really liked that vulture run by that Sharp did, and then the fact that those raids gave Royal so much trouble meant he just really wasn't able to develop as quickly into the mid game as Sharp did. And from there on out, he just had less eco and less everything, and Sharp did a good job just completely containing him. Like a standard TVT game, you know, it's always those contains. So hard to break out.
Yeah, you don't need very much. Also, it's like if a spider mine connects, all of a sudden everything gets one-shotted. I mean, it's just crazy how strong Terran is when they're all set up. But this is going to be game 2 as we go into Dominator.
All right, on the on the bottom left side of the map, we do have Royal.
Yeah, and in the mid right, we do have Sharp. Yeah, you get baited by the observers.
Yeah, do they trick you as well? Because they start on one person's base and then they swap.
Yeah, so what it is they go to the highest tier player first. So the fact that they went to Royal is he must be higher rated on the tier list.
But how does that make sense? Because Sharp got a direct seed into the round of 16 because he finished top 4 last season. So he should be the higher tier, no?
Well, the tier system is based on points that you've accumulated over all the ASLs. So I guess because Royal won ASL, his overall point is higher.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I get baited all the time by these observers, which is why I wait a few seconds to see which person they're going to click.
You've been doing this for 5 years now. You should know the tiers, man.
Yeah, I got them all memorized. Well, once again, no crazy shenanigans. I think at this level it's really rare to see 8 Raxes in BBS, but, you know, it used to be a viable strategy. We are going to have Royal send his SCV out, and it is going to be just at the natural. So this looks like finally we're going to have a gasless opener.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, and that looks like a gasless to me as well. But yeah, about the 8, like I've seen Royal do crazy stuff, like even 6 racks and stuff against Hero at some point, so this guy is capable of anything.
Yeah, if this was a map like Dark Origin or I guess Minstrel, I think as Sharp you would definitely need to prepare for stuff like that, because maps like that where you can retreat to a ramp and then use the SCV on the high ground to body block, I mean, it is super hard to stop. I've played Speed on a few seasons ago when Eclipse was in the ladder pool, and you know, I think as soon as he gets a foreigner, he's gonna troll anyways. But I've run into his 6 racks, and it's like unstoppable, man. It's just crazy fast. Now look at this. Sharp is gonna get lucky here. He's gonna find him first. He has pulled off of gas, but he wouldn't have pulled off of gas for too long. He could try and all in this, but I don't think I've ever seen a pro player all into this after they've already pulled, but we'll see how he reacts.
Yeah, Sharp once again gets the early scout, so pretty lucky, and he's got another unit. He's got his Marine out already, and he's just gonna send that straight to Royal's base, I assume, just to put some initial pressure. But yeah, he put back on gas already?
Yeah, he put back on gas. Okay,
well... Okay, so he's gonna be aggressive then, for sure.
Well, this is highly interesting to me because, as I stated before, I just can't defend gasless ever, and I can't kill gasless ever. So I'm very curious how Sharp is going to deal with this. There's no second factory. So is this Wraith? Wait a minute. He's got a SCV coming down to the natural, but is it a fake? Try and act like it's a command center?
No, he's got 400 minerals, so it's gonna be a command center. I think it's gonna be a command center with a tank push. So I think he put back on gas just so he could build a tank and get siege, maybe.
Okay.
Because yeah, I mean I don't play TVT, so I don't know, but he did put back on gas, so he wanted more gas for something, and maybe he feels like he can put some light pressure. But there's already 3 Marines against 2. So now Sharp needs a unit, actually.
Yeah, he may be obligated to build a vulture. In fact, it's just 1 Marine. This is hilarious. Imagine going gas a 6-man and you just attack. He's going to kill one of the Marines, or I guess the only Marine, almost gets the other SCV. So it does force out a vulture, which is great, because now all of a sudden, you know, tank push is not going to work anymore. But he does lose his first 3 Marines, which means he's going to have to build additional ones, which is, you know, not your most favorite thing when you're going gas a 6-man. You don't want to necessarily build 5 Marines. I mean, that's a crazy amount.
Yeah, I find that very interesting that he actually went through with the attack. He could have just pulled back, you know, at the halfway mark. But now I do feel like Royal is just in a very good position. He got a quicker CC. Yeah, he probably has more workers. He's got 2 factories and a starport going up. And what does Sharp have? He just has the 2 facts, but he does have a tank. So I think he will. I think he probably did upgrade siege, and he's now going to do a little push. Can you build a bunker in front of the base?
I don't think he can because of that bunker positioning. I think the bunker will range the other bunker. But this was pretty weird, as Royal has gone 2-fact himself, but then he has a hidden starport.
Yeah, the Wraith could come into play. Like, this siege is pretty good. Like, he's gonna be able to shoot the bunker, shoot the depot. And I don't think Royal is close to having siege yet. There's a Wraith on the way, but on the other hand, Sharp is building Marines. So, and if he does kill that bunker, looks like Royal wants to break out. So here we go, big SCV pool. 1 Vulture, 1 tank. The Vulture gets taken out fast. This tank is just not doing work yet for Royal. He might even get taken out now. And the tank from Sharp does fall. Oh, nice. He saves the tank even.
Well, for now he does. But he wants it desperately. But critically for Royal is he's gotten rid of all the Marines, which means now this Wraith can, you know, even if this tank falls, the Wraith will reign supreme here. Oh, there's mines too.
Oh, and that tank does end up filing. This is still not over. This is quite a bit of pressure, and now there's nothing to really counter that tank. SCVs are starting to die as well. There's a tank from Royal coming again, but it's 2 Vultures.
Yeah, that tank might die. Okay, luckily that Vulture got caught, which is really great for Royal. Tank, you know, the mines are so annoying here. That single Marine is annoying too. That tank is gonna die. And if he's not careful, that tank coming through the rally might trigger a mine. Nope, it ends up falling. That Wraith is going to die.
Oh my god, and he can't really move up now. He can't protect the SCVs. There goes the mine, and it will go off. And now this tank is dead as well. And now this is looking so bad for Royal, actually. The SCV is being pulled off the line once again, but more Marines, more Vultures, and all these SCVs are going to die. And I think Sharp is taking a massive, massive advantage right now with this push.
Oh, it's just rallied everything across the map. Marine, 2-fact Vulture. And like you said, those were massive losses. Now Sharp is up in supply, up in workers. He's got mines. There's no scan. Royal can't even afford to build scanners because he's desperately just trying to hold on. Oh, he does have an academy, actually, so I take that back.
Yeah, but even now, building the scanners is just going to cut harder into his SCV production when he's already behind. So that's not necessarily great either, but it looks like now there's 2 raids. There's not enough anti-air, so I guess for now, Sharp does have to go home. His armory is already done, so he's going to be able to get a couple of Goliaths. And from here, Sharp is just set up super well into the mid game. He's got a nice advantage. Oh, these mines will get cleared out, so that's good for Royal. But there's 2 more. He does kill them.
Yeah, Sharp is in such a great position, though. He's already got his 4 factories. Wraiths are so expensive, like incredibly expensive. Almost every single one you build is basically comparable to a factory. So he needs to do some work with these Wraiths, you know, at least control the air, you know, at least give himself vision so he can not, you know, be pushed to death, and maybe use that advantage to skimp out on some tanks use high ground to his advantage and maybe recover by taking a faster third base. But Sharp, with his 4-fact production, he'll have just so much stuff so fast.
Yeah, so Nyoken, taking a step back, do you feel like you've learned something from this opening about what you can do against the gasless?
I don't know, man, because I've never seen somebody just throw 3 Marines away, and then I've never seen somebody go 2-fact, 1-port Wraith. Usually it's like 3-fact or tank Goliath, but I guess I would have to rewatch the VOD here.
So basically the guys in ASL, they don't really know what they're doing. The people on the ladder are playing better.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's just a strange response from Royal. Like, his Wraith wasn't even in time for the push, right? And the guy was building Marines outside of his natural. I don't know. It was just weird. But we do have now Sharp getting a starport himself. I wonder if he'll go into race.
Yeah, and we have a dropship above Sharp's base as well, but I think there's a Goliath there. And he's trying to do something with these raids, so it looks like the dropship for now is just gonna chill. Yeah, there's a tank too, so I guess it wouldn't get too much done. I think for Sharp, it's probably time to take a third base, but Royal's on the move in the middle of the map as well.
Yeah, I think he saw that vulture, or that dropship, I think, with his vultures on the left side, so it was good reaction there to have a tank and Goliath in the main. And like you said, I think Sharp is going to expand down to bottom right, but looks like he's actually maybe on the move. I mean, he has a ton of stuff. He has a lot of vultures to soak up hits, but his tank count is not the biggest. He's got a ton of Goliaths. What is it, 6 Goliaths and 2 tanks? 3 tanks. Okay, 5 tanks. Oh.
And the dropship comes back in. I'm not sure there's a lot of units there to defend. At the same time, he clears out mines, so he drags away the attention of Sharp, does a siege up. I'd like to see what happened to the dropship. Looks like the tank is still there, so the vultures don't get anything done. There's even a Wraith and a Goliath, so it will get taken out now. You know, on this map, with all the high grounds, like, it's already normally hard. Oh, look at Royal. He's swinging around the bottom side, trying to deny the third, but there is no third. And now Sharp knows that where the units of Royal are. Maybe he can take advantage himself by getting into a good position.
And he's done that. He's going to be on high ground in a second, and those tanks are already damaged. There are a lot of tanks for Royal, but there's just so many other units for Sharp to soak up shots. If he can also get rid of the race somehow, well, he didn't. Okay, actually, that was a really big blunder from Sharp. He lost so many vultures. Okay, maybe it wasn't, because he takes down all the tanks at the bottom side, too.
Yeah, he's taking out a lot of tanks here, but he did lose a lot of Goliaths and vultures, but yeah, like you said, there's only 1 tank left, and now he can basically get on top of the high ground. But looks like Royal wants to make a last-minute defense of that high ground still. He gets his own tanks up there, and it's going to be hard now for Sharp to push into this. But it looks like he does have a little bit of a contain now in the middle of the map.
Luckily for Royal, he does have some high ground here, so he's not going to just be completely shooting from the low ground. But I did notice, once again, Science Facility already done for Sharp. You got a match and +2 weapons should be on the way. Royal's having his third base shut down. I do want to point out that Sharp, interestingly, took the mineral only, which is not really exactly what you want to take in TVT.
Yeah, that is an interesting decision. Maybe it's just because it's more easier to defend, but it looks like he wants to basically double expand now. He's looking like he's going to take this base at the same time. And he's got some vultures up, trying to delay that third base from Royal. I gotta say that, no, with everything that happened till now, it's looking like a pretty even game at this point.
If Royal can get mid-left, I think it's still fine for him. But I'm still wondering what his upgrades are because of how impactful +2 weapon is. He's, it's not like the last game where he didn't have any control over the center. He does have control himself. In fact, he has better control over the top side, or the top left side. But Sharp, I think he's going to be able to also expand to bottom middle just based on what he has. And it could come down to these middle bases. Bottom middle, top middle, for example. Ooh, see your Wraith?
Yeah, Royal's been banking up raids. They're just going to now go to the south side. probably at least get an SCV kill there.
Yep, SCV dies. Oh, free dropship. We take
getting
those.
a dropship like this is nice. Oh, he might... he might not get... he does get it, but he loses 2 raids, I think.
Wow, 7 factories for Sharp also. So still tons of production here. But 2 raids, you know, they're not very dangerous. But Royal is using this time to get some more map control. And this is a 3-player map. If he can now split it in his favor by taking the other main, he'll be in a good spot in mid and late game.
Yeah, but that's so much area to cover, and Sharp has a lot of units of his own, but yeah, it's already hard to push in TVT normally, and then with this map there's so many high grounds. Like, how do you even move to the center? It seems like mission impossible.
Yeah, I am a little worried that Royal is too thin here. I mean, that is just so many tanks, man. And where does Sharp want to go? Another drop.
Gotta find the weak spot.
Okay, I think there's some vultures here at the bottom right. Okay, yeah, vulture and turret. So that base is not going to take any damage. Still about a 25 supply lead for Sharp. You know, that's not that big in TVT. So definitely Sharp still needs to be careful. Okay, and this is what you were talking about. Way too thin. There's only 2 tanks here. No +2, so he can't 2-shot the tanks, and he's going to easily take this down.
Yeah, when you only have a couple of tanks like this in position, you basically lose them, and you don't kill any tanks of the opponent, so it's a really bad trade. And once again, it looks like Sharp here has more. And again, Royal's tanks are falling. I think the dropship did a little bit of damage, but not enough. And Royal's bleeding off too many units.
It looked like a lot of SCVs died there, but it is 4 command centers. He'll be able to rebuild those pretty quickly. And Sharp critically lost, I think, 0 tanks in that engagement at top left. So he's now, once again, up 30 supply. He does have +2 now, so a massive power spike. And he's going to take advantage of that by jumping on this mineral only. And there's, once again, only 2 tanks here.
Yeah, that's so poorly defended. And he's sending back his units from the top side, but not before Sharp gets this position on the high ground. The mineral only gets denied. And Royal's just getting pushed back. He's desperately trying to siege up with the +2. He's gonna one-shot those tanks with 2 hits, I think, right? Just 2 shot instead of 3.
Yep,
so that is a huge advantage. And all the tanks of Royal die.
There's just so much stuff. Royal really needs to have like a race switch or something come in right now, like 12 of them, because there's not that many Goliaths, but I don't think he has that. Wow, he's just A-moving, man.
Yeah, he's just rolling over Royal right now. He's almost into the natural at the rally points, and there just doesn't look like there's going to be enough from Royal. And Sharp pushes his advantage from the early game with the tank push into a win here, and GG, and he advances to the round of 8 in first place.
Yeah, back to back, he's going to make it into the round of 8 at least. So well done from Sharp. And that was clinical, man. I mean, this was I think I made the prediction yesterday that I really liked Sharp to get out of this group because his TVT is so good, and you can see it right there. There was no point in that game where he was behind. I think in game 1 he was slightly behind until Royal bled off that first tank and, you know, kind of messed up with the siege. But other than that, I mean, he's just playing super well.
Yeah, really well played by him. He was everywhere on the map. He really took advantage of positions of Royal that were not defended well enough. And I just want to talk about what we talked about when we started the cast today. And, you know, Light could still finish second place. And then we're going to have a crazy round of 8 where Sulky plays either Light, Snow, or Hero, which is just insane. So
Yeah.
pretty exciting.
Yeah, and at this point, it's just too much to overcome. You're split too much. I mean, Royal did a good job to recover. You can see his worker count, but his army was just never there. And he's also down the +2 weapon. He did the race switch, which is a lot of gas. Didn't get much value out of that. He's also, of course, I mean, actually, he's even on bases 5-5, but he's down 40 supply with no mine. Like, he also doesn't have any mines to buy any time at all, and he has no idea that this is coming. He is completely blindsided by all these units as they reposition real quickly, and at this point, yeah, all you can do is lift and pray to hold your natural, but Sharp just had such fast factories that he just had an overwhelming amount of stuff.
Yeah, so many tanks, and with the +2, like you said, huge advantage. Your tanks are just stronger than Royal's tanks, and Kind of surprised that Royal didn't see this coming because Sharp took quite a while to get from the top side to the bottom side, but all of Royal's units were still at the top. But I guess that's TVT for you. You constantly got to try to find a weakness in your opponent's armor, and Sharp did just that.
Yeah, at high level, it's all about positioning and movement. And like, even though tanks aren't exactly the fastest unit in the game, because you yourself, like the opponent, have to move your tanks and move them into position. You're spending a lot of time moving them, and then by the time you realize that the opponent's already moved, it's too late. So, unfortunately, Royal, he's gonna be sent to the deciders match. Of course, not knocked out yet, but he's gonna have tough opponents coming through the bottom side, whether it's Stork or Light. Stork looked, pretty damn good, even though he was in the losers match. And then, of course, Light always looks really good, even though Light did mess up, versus Royal earlier on Radeon.
Yeah, potentially going to be a rematch of Light versus Royal, but yeah, Stork also not looking too shabby at all. And the next match is definitely going to be exciting. But yeah, congratulations to Sharp for yet again another round of 8. And he's just been looking so good these last couple of seasons.
Yeah, I think he can definitely make it into the round of 4. Thinking about what opponents could he get, well, he can't get whoever comes out of this group. He could get Hero. That would be a rematch from last season also, where Sharp looked really good on, what was that map? It was the 4-player green map, not Polypoid, the one with a lot of walls. Can't remember it, but he looked really good there. But then after that, Hero went Super Saiyan mode, so we could see a rematch of that. We could see him face off versus Snow. And Snow yesterday looked fragile at times, getting picked apart by speed, so I could see Sharp beating Snow, even though I probably wouldn't have said that a few months ago. And then also, with Rush being on the bottom side, Sharp could get a TVT, and we know how deadly his TVT is. He could definitely get through Rush also.
Yeah, do you think he might be hoping for Rush as an opponent?
I think if I was him, I would be hoping for Rush. I think I think his TVT is so strong that that's the way you get into the round of 4.
Yeah, I think his TVT is his best. I think his TVP is pretty much up to par nowadays. But at least last season, his TVZ still looked like his weakest because Hero kind of smacked him.
Yeah,
But maybe he
exactly.
wants a revenge,
Well, it could be the case. I don't know if I would want revenge versus Hero just because it's like automatic that he's automatically into the round of 4. I would be surprised if Sharp would want to play Snow, but you never know because Speed kind of was bodying Snow, to be honest, yesterday. And Snow hasn't looked like his normal self compared to previous seasons.
Yeah, I agree with that. Snow not looking like he usually does. So, but Sharp versus Snow would be a very big matchup. I would like to watch that.
Well, clearly, still a lot of Sharp fans in the audience holding up that Sharp God sign. I'm sure he'll be on his stream later. I think last time he made round of 4, he did like an all-night stream or something. I remember he went to like a really fancy steak place in Korea and was streaming it. So I'm
I
sure
was
he'll be.
watching that. Yeah, I was watching that. They went out to dinner, and I remember watching it, and people were just donating like crazy. It's like
Yeah,
he won in ASL, but he made more money off his personal stream just from the donations. People saying congratulations, great games, good job, and stuff like that.
exactly. I had the same thought. I'm like, man, I just need to go to Korea, get into the top 8 or whatever, and then just double my money by just getting that far because you're gonna get so many donations coming in. I mean, all the streamers have that. Like Shuttle, when he got past Light or something in the round of 16, I think it was the same deal there where he just got a ton of balloons and donations.
Did you actually try to play in the ASL qualifiers when you were in Korea, or did you skip them?
I think I went to the first one, like when I first showed up to Korea, that I played in person, and that was fun because I played versus, like, did I play versus Beast? No, I don't think I played versus Beast, but I played. Oh, I know how I played. I played versus Ride Sky. I lost to him, but I got introduced to Beast as a foreign pro, and I was like, nah, I don't know about that, man. But um, that was a fun time. But as far as the online qualifiers, I always forgot about them. Like I registered, and then I woke up the next day, and I had already missed them, but that was mostly because of my schedule. You know, I was casting BSL at like 1 in the morning and then
Yeah,
going to sleep at like 6, and I'd wake up in like a random time, and by then the qualifiers were already done. I just completely forgot.
yeah, yeah. About being a foreign pro, actually, I remember I got speed once on the ladder, I think last season. And you said he likes to troll, but he didn't even play me. He just called me a Gosu, and he left the game. But
Yeah.
I feel like the Gosu must have been sarcastic because it's like, oh, the game is lagging a little bit. This guy's a foreigner. Obviously, he sucks. So,
Yeah. That's how some of them are, man. I mean, some of them are willing to play, some of them are just not willing to play. Like Snow, obviously he'll play anybody as he loves to troll and, win with mass scouts. But then there are players like Barracks, he's insta out of there. Speed, I've played versus him quite a bit. Shine, I played versus him quite a bit. But a lot of them are just like, nope, lag, I'm out, see you later. Just here's a gift of 50 points. He'll make it back, so it's no big deal. But we're going
yeah.
into a break, and then we'll be back with our losers match, which is Stork versus Light. And we're back. Losers match coming up. Stork versus Light. Stork had good PVT versus Royal, or not versus Royal, versus Sharp, but in the end, Sharp was a little bit too strong as he also made it out of the group in first. Light kind of just got bodied by Royal, so we don't really know of his state today, but hopefully he can bring it back versus Stork, and I think he's got a good shot versus him, simply because Light's TVP for the past few years has just been so strong.
Yeah, I think this is a great matchup. This could have been Caspa era, peak matchup. Light as the ace for Team NBC and then Stork as the ace for Team Samsung. But now it's 20 years later and we get to watch them play again. I'm pretty excited. I mean, Light, like you said, he has such amazing TVP. I feel like he plays almost unlike anybody else, where he's just happy to go split map and go trade blows with the Protoss, and it's really exciting to watch him play.
And look at this. We get Dominator first, then Deja Vu Standard, and then Monty Hall. So regardless of whether you're rooting for Protoss or Terran here, you got to be rooting for a 1-1 score so we can get a Monty Hall game. I don't think we've seen a single Terran versus Protoss on Monty Hall just yet. So it would be nice to finally get to see one.
Would it be nice though? I mean, do you like Monty Halls for TVP, or I don't really know how it plays out, but
well, I don't like it. It's more like Monty Hell for me, but these players, the god tier pro players, they make Terran look really strong on here. Of course, Stork wants to just win 2-0. I don't think he wants to get to Monty Hall, but I hope we can actually get there and see something, some good game on there.
Well, we're into game number 1, and we have Stork, I think, in the... I didn't see. Right, we have Stork in the top left.
Well, go ahead. I know what you're going to say.
Did they show Stork first? Because there's no way Stork is in the upper tier, right?
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, wait a minute. There's no way that you have an ASL champion in Light and he's not above Stork. How is that possible? So maybe I'm wrong. I am pretty sure that I'm right with the tier statement earlier. But yeah, maybe Stork has more points. I mean, consistently round of 16 for Light, round of 24 sometimes. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you for the shout out.
Yeah, nice to see people in the audience supporting you as well.
Yeah, ASL English, that's the Tastosis Patreon, but also we've got our own Patreon at StarCastTV English. And what is, not sure. Oh, I think this is talking about the Legend of the Fall. The Protoss players of the past usually do well during the fall season of the pro leagues.
Yeah, that all started back when I think Anytime GM won a Star League. And then, yeah, of course, the Protoss player has to do well in autumn, but I feel like it's been a very dark time for Protoss players the last couple of years, because there hasn't been a Protoss winner in a very long time. I think not since Mini, right? So
yeah, it's been a while, and it's like you said, it's only been Mini. I think he's the only one to even make it to the finals, and he's gotten there like 4 times or 3 times. Only won 1 out of the 4 or 3 that he was there. We do have normal openers this time. It's 12 gas, I think, from Light. Nothing crazy from Stork. It's just gonna be no Zealot, fast cybernetics. Yesterday we saw Rain go for no range into fast expansion. I wonder if Stork will do something similar or play it more safe.
I think Light is definitely the type of player that if he scouts no range, he's going to be aggressive with that. So I'm not sure if that's something Stork wants to do, and Light will actually get an early scout here and see exactly what he's playing against.
Oh, somebody on the... Whoops. I had the StarCastTV logo up the whole time. My bad. So, luckily we caught that quickly, only lost 2 minutes. I would have totally missed that if I didn't open the chat, so thank you, chat.
And that means that that will have to be cut off, right?
No, I think we're just going to have to leave it in there, because otherwise I'm going to have to edit it. We didn't miss very much. I mean, this is just standard openers, so if we had missed like something crazy, yeah, I probably would have edited it.
Yeah, it looks really standard, but yeah, actually no range, just a straight nexus here. And Light got a 229 factory, so that's pretty fast. So he might be able to turn on the aggression here. Like, I actually played one, and like, this is a silly story, but one of my friends who's like a rank Protoss or something, he came up with a build order that he said was working super well. And it was something like skipping Dragoon, skipping range, going straight Robo, defending your Nexus with a Reaver. So then I queued up ladder. I was like, okay, I'm gonna test your build. And then I actually, by some miracle, queued into Light. And I was like, okay, I'll do the build anyways. And he just scouted my base. He saw there was no Dragoon, and he saw there was no range, and he just pulled SCVs and killed me, which makes total sense.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if he's gonna think about doing the same right now, because he did see the range was delayed, but it looks like he does just make his command center. He's still scouting a lot with his SCV, keeping tabs on the Protoss.
Yeah, good intel from Light there, and Stork is going to do the normal follow-up, which is 4-minute Robo. Okay, 4th Marine. This may be a timing, because you really don't build 4 Marines, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm still surprised there's no bunker, so maybe this is going to be like 4 Marines, tank, Vulture rally. Here we go. The Goon's already taken a lot of damage. He could commit with this now.
Yeah, that's a lot of free shots on that Dragoon. That's not what you want, and he's only got, I think, 2 Dragoons out on the map, so this is looking a little bit scary right now. I'm not sure if Light is going to commit all the way. He didn't pull any SCVs with this, really, so I think this might just be a little bit of a fake poke.
Yeah, it definitely could be. Could be kind of like what Sharp did, you know, attack with his 5-fact and then back off. Okay, he actually does commit. There's 3 Goons, but the Goons, do they have range yet? It didn't really look like. Okay, now they definitely do.
Well, I think the Dragoon on the right is very weak, so if Light can target that one, but he does plant a couple of mines, and now he backs off.
Yeah, 2nd factory coming down for Light. Didn't see an armory anywhere. I know he really does like to go armory, but not this time. Oh, Vulture gonna see the probe at least. Will he get the denial though? No.
No, that's nice for Stork, but at least Light is now perfectly aware of the fact that Stork will probably take a 3rd base. And another Vulture is coming, and there's no money for a Nexus, so that probe might actually end up dying.
Yeah, looks like he's gonna try and just set up some pylons here, and yeah, it's gonna get taken down. So that's a Ripperino there. I didn't actually see what the tech follow-up was for Stork. Did he go Observer? Or, okay, he did go Observer, but I'm curious if he also has a support bay. We know that he clearly wants that Nexus as he sends another probe over there.
Yeah, and now he's finally got the 400 minerals, but a Vulture sneaks into the natural. That's a little bit annoying, gets a single probe kill once again. We'll have to see what Stork does now, like, to differentiate from his Radeon game. Like, I think he scouted with the Observer, he saw the 5 factories. And that's when he decided to build a citadel and go for a lot of gateways.
Man, every time I look up at top right, I'm like, there must be a Nexus there, right? There isn't. Now finally he's gonna get it up, and we've got, okay, Dragoons are just gonna back off. I thought he might try and put some pressure on. Ooh, there's a slight opening at the natural, but not gonna go for it.
Looks like Light might now try to push in. I'm not sure. Oh my god, he does get through. And now he gets into the main base, and this could be bad. He kills a single probe so far. He puts down some mines. It looks like not too many probe losses up until this point, but 2 more Vultures into the natural as well.
Oh no. And I think he is lacking observers because he built a shuttle. So he's struggling. Oh no! Oh. Not like that! As it go, he's gonna kill the Goons also! So he loses a ton of probes, and he loses the double Goon.
So just with a handful of Vultures, Light is doing tremendous amounts of damage. All the probes got pulled from the main. I think he lost at least 5 or 6 in the main. He's still losing probes in the main base. At the natural, he lost at least like 6 probes, and this is already looking like devastating damage by Light.
I don't even know if he can recover from this. This is just such crazy damage. He's not even out of the woodwork yet, because I can somehow see Zealots being rallied towards the natural and exploding that mine right there. Please don't unload anything.
Yeah, I think he must be aware that there might... Oh, I killed it. Okay, there was an observer now, but... Look at this mineral line in the main base. It's not looking too hot. And Light at the same time, he's still only on 2 factories, but he's got nice turrets up in place. He doesn't look like anything can be done to him. I don't know if he's building factories in the bottom left. Yeah, there are 3 more factories. And Light might just go for a timing now to turn this advantage into a quick win.
Yep, so, oh my god, he's gonna catch the transfer too. This couldn't go worse for Stork. This is just devastating damage. He needs his Reaver to somehow pull off some miraculous shots, kind of like what Snow got yesterday versus Speed with the 20 kills. But Light is well fortified here. He's now unloaded into the main. Can he get anything? I mean, he gets a tank, but that's definitely not enough. He gets 2 SCVs, and that even connected. Oh, it didn't connect, actually.
Good pick up there by Stork. Killing a tank for 2 Zealots is nice. Killing 2 SCVs is nice, but it doesn't compare to losing at least 15 probes.
Yeah.
Only 2 gateways as well when the 5 factories are already done. And he's got the 3rd CC as well. Not building it on place like Speed was doing pretty much every game. Light with a pretty conservative approach here. He's got so many turrets. I think he's got about 10 turrets in total.
That's a big commitment to the turrets, but I think it's fine to commit that much after you've killed so many probes. The observer doesn't get in. I don't think the observer actually spotted that there's a command center behind this, and I don't think he spotted how many factories there actually are. That observer gets taken down.
Yeah, it looks like the Reaver's just trying to, slow back the Terran, hold back the Terran a little bit, like you see every game. But Light obviously knows how to push against this. And Stork really doesn't have that many units. There's like a handful of goons on the left side. But Light is easily going to be able to take his 3rd base here.
He's definitely going to get that very easily. So it's going to be 3 base versus 3 base. 7 factories for Terran. I didn't see a starport, so it's probably just going to be a 1-1 timing, I guess. Terran is up supply also, so I mean, this is just a nightmare scenario for Protoss.
And the Vultures are still out on the map, trying to find openings here. I think by now there's a pylon wall there for sure, so he can't get in.
So at least that's going to be denied for now, unless there's some type of drop that I didn't see. Oh my gosh, that mine.
Just the little things, man, so painful. Losing a goon to a random single mine at the 11-minute mark. And these Reavers are trying to find a little bit of damage, killing an SCV. Oh, that's a big plunk of SCVs. If he can get a scarab on that.
He didn't get it, and he's going to not lose that shuttle. He only loses 1 Reaver, but yeah, I was hoping that he could get a good juicy shot on those SCVs as they were clumped up.
There's that starport, so getting ready for that science facility. But I think Light here is just gonna gear up for a big attack of his 7 factories, and it looks like Stork is getting ready for that. He is getting the Zealot's leg upgrade. He's got up to like 7 or 8 gates by now. But that is so many tanks.
Yeah, and this is at least 3 Reavers. Isn't this going to be really hard to control? I've still never seen anybody effectively use more than 1 shuttle with Reavers, so we'll see how this pans out. We've got Light actually setting up like he might try and take a 4th base.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I like that decision, but it's very Light-esque. He's always just going to keep expanding. I do feel like if there's a double drop into the main base, Zealots do unload, there's Reavers in the back. Oh, he could kill so many depots here and the armory.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Of course, that should be +1 armor. He hasn't gotten it just yet, but it's gonna die.
I can't believe that tank survived.
How is that armory not dead? Okay, now it finally gets taken down.
Yeah, killing that armory and I think 2 depots, pretty nice. I think that was the only armory, so yeah, it denied +1 armor. That's actually kind of a big deal.
That is a nice pick off. Still even supply though, and Protoss sees that Terran's taking a 4th base. So still going to be even bases. Still, the tech is lacking. Finally, we have some Templars on the field, but he's going to need some Dream Storms.
And it looks like Stork is getting ready to do some attack on the 4th base, but there's vultures in position and there's a lot of siege tanks on the high ground. But he's just gonna walk straight on in onto these vaults, and yeah, that's a bad idea, so he does back off. I think Stork has to just keep expanding. You know, like, there's not much he can do here. Light has tanks, turrets, and vultures pretty much everywhere on this 4-base layout.
Uh-oh. He's building another robo, and he is taking another base at top right. Like I was saying, I think yesterday, or maybe earlier today, if you're going to go double robo, you got to have a lot of mineral income. And because he's taken so many probe losses, I don't know how he's going to support double robo with mass gates, but we'll see if he can make something happen. Clearly he wants to shuttle bomb mid-left or the main over and over and just try and shut down bases. There's another shuttle that comes out.
Yeah, and we see a lot of Templars out on the map, so it looks like he's just kind of playing the same style that he played on Radion. And hopefully he can get a few more storms off than he did in that game, because in that game it just wasn't enough. Looks like Light is trying to get some presence out onto the map with these vultures, just putting down mines everywhere. Obviously always a good choice. I wonder if we're going to see Light just stay back, because both players are almost maxed, and there's a dropship going into the main, but there is a cannon, and there's some zealots already, so he did spot it, so probably not too much damage from these vultures.
There go the vultures. And okay, actually we're going to have a big move by Light. I was wondering if he was just going to keep vulture harassing, or if he's actually going to send some tanks. And there he goes, sending through the center. Where does he want to go? I mean, he has... I am actually surprised he's going cross... Yeah, okay, now he's going to hook back to the left side. Ooh, there's the shuttle bomb that I was talking about.
Yeah, that's a very good time to do a counter drop, right when Light is moving out into the center, so it's not going to be very easy for him to deal with these zealots. It looks like Light will push into the mineral only, immediately takes out these reavers, which is very nice. And Stork looks like he completely wasn't ready for this attack, because Light's just going to be able to set up wherever he wants right now.
Yeah, there's so many tanks, man. Oh my gosh. Wow, what is... Oh my goodness. That's like 25 tanks with D-Matrix with, you know, 4 shuttles. That's 8 supply right there. The Reavers are pretty much useless in battles like this. This is going to be a massacre.
Yeah, the Protoss units are just melting. The Reaver on the high ground trying to fight back, but the Goliath pushes back the shuttle. And I just feel like Stork was completely caught off guard by this whole army movement. I don't think he had any vision, because he completely wasn't ready. He wasn't ready to storm, he wasn't ready to do anything, really. And now the mineral only gets taken out, and it looks like Light's just going to keep pushing forward. I don't think anything can stop him right now.
And Terran has the +2 power spike, so hitting really hard. He's so close to being on top of the natural, which means he's on top of the rally point. There's goons trying to branch off to, you know, try and just maneuver around the map. But Light too good for that. He's going to shadow the movement. Zealots are out on the field, but there's still random mines that connect and deal some damage.
Yeah, and this is something these top Terrans are just so good at, where they leave just a bunch of tanks, vultures with mines, and then they move their whole army to wherever the Protoss is. And Stork is on the run, man. Like, he can't fight here, has to keep running away, but Light is gonna hunt him down. Light could just go for the bases now, I feel like. Looks like he's happy to just follow this army around for now. There is 4 shuttles out on the map. I don't know what's inside them.
It's another shuttle bomb to mid-left. I saw Reavers get loaded up. So this could deal crippling damage, because it's not going to be easy to deal with this. Not with the Reavers supporting most likely the Zealots. But he has to unload. Okay, but at the same time, Light's just like, okay, that's great, dude. Kill my base. I'm just going to kill everything you have.
So many tanks now knocking on the front door of Stork. A few zealots going into the mineral only. This 4th base does get denied mining, but I just don't see any way for Stork to clean up all of these tanks. A big counterattack now on the mineral only, but there's 3 tanks in position and some vultures. Looks like these tanks will get cleaned up, but that's not a scary army from Stork.
It's tiny, and those tanks are knocking on the pylon wall at top middle. that base is going to fall pretty soon. The natural is already being breached as we speak. Main's basically mined out. So it's going to be essentially one base mining for Stork. Yes, Light is also low on mining, but the difference is that I don't think his army can be stopped.
Yeah, he's now started shelling on this base as well. And he's splitting off some units to the last remaining mining base of Stork as well. And there's only one gateway. I think I did see a DT. But Stork just bleeding off his last remaining units, and I think he knows the writing's on the wall now. He looks pretty dead.
Yeah, 150 to 80. Okay, Reaver finally going to get some damage in the late game as he kills a couple of tanks, but he's lost all of his resources. It doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah, and Stork, you know, I feel like once again he didn't look bad, but just too much early game damage from Light, and he does GG and Light takes it. He's up 1-0 in the losers match. What did you make of that game, Nyoken?
I think it just came to those vultures. I mean, how do those vultures get in and deal that much damage? And then, of course, the mine explosion, getting the goon kills plus the probe kills. I mean, it's basically just an insurmountable lead. And then Light, he didn't rush it. You know, he could have done a timing, but he's like, you know what? You can't beat me in late game, so I'm just going to expand, max out, get my upgrades, and just roll you over with tanks. And that's what he did.
Yeah, and I think with Stork's style, it's really important that you catch the Terran while he's still moving. Because that's the time where you can unload Templars and you can get big storms. But if you let Terran just move right to the center and set up siege right in front of your base, if you have to then scramble to defend, it's going to be super, super tough. And that's basically what happened. But I would like to see Stork play that style, because I do really like that style. I think it's really good. He just needs to not be behind into the mid game.
Yeah, as far as openers here, I think 12 Nexus could be the way to go for Stork. Maybe he can get another big lead like he did versus Sharp in the early stages. Maybe you need something like that versus Light. But I actually think Light is going to 11 gas here, because I think it could be likely that it's a 12 Nexus. So we'll see what openers are.
And our second map is going to be Deja Vu.
Yeah.
Do you like that map for TVP, or what do you think?
I like this map. I think this is the best map in the map pool, other than Radeon. I really do think that this is a good remake of, it's like a reverse of Jade, if you remember that map. And so far, my experience on here has been very positive, and it looks like our players are ready. So let's get into it and see if Light can actually close it out.
Okay, and once again we are panning first to Stork, who's in the top left.
Yeah, in the bottom right, we've got Light. So cross spawn. I've heard things about cross spawn Nexus first.
Yeah, it's Artosis' favorite, right?
Yeah. They always get the Nexus first when it's cross spawn.
Yeah, it's just he's cursed, man. Either that or everybody's just map hacking.
Yeah, stream cheating, map hacking. Actually, the other day I played a guy where I'm pretty sure he was map hacking. It was pretty amusing watching him just move his stuff without an observer. Also going 12 Nexus cross spawn, and then the next game on a 4-player map, he pylon scouts, gas steals me, and then finds my hidden base. It's like, oh, okay, I guess there are some map hackers on the ladder, but in general, I don't really think there's that many.
Yeah, I don't really get the feeling somebody's cheating against me too often. Luckily.
You're that good, man. And even if they are, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Well, no 12 Nexus this time. I was a little excited because I thought we were queuing some probes up. But look at this. Is this going to be gasless from Light? A lot of times when you have the low ground racks like this, it signals that it's going to be.
Yeah. He's just building it there so he can have a nice SimCity against a potential Zealot. Yeah, but no 12 Nexus, just a normal gas build from Stork. I feel like this is already looking good for Light, man. Cross position gasless against gate gas. I would take those positions.
I think Stork has been on record saying that Gasless has no counter and it's playable versus all the races. So I'm sure when he scouts this, he's not going to be happy that Light's going to be up. The Worker is going to have mega econ.
Stork is on record saying Mike Morhaime must have been a Terran player.
Yeah. A lot of quotes from him. Well, he hasn't scouted, which is my big concern. I feel like he's probably going to go range now. He's going to have a later Nexus in the range with it being gasless. You know, generally that's an okay follow-up, but with it also being cross-spawn, it's going to take, you know, those goons a few extra seconds, which means it's going to be less repair time for Light. So already I think Stork's in a pretty bad position. This is kind of a weird scout pattern. Why is Light scouting cross-spawn? I have no idea, but he's going to find him first, which is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, it was the super greedy version of CC Rack CC, where you don't even build a second depot. You just go straight 15 CC, and he's got a super fast gas because of that. I mean, he's just looking like he's in a great position. I'm not sure why his SCV backed off there. Like, I feel like he didn't scout the main, right? But he must know Stork is there.
Yeah, I think... Okay, he does come in and does see the Nexus, so he knows he's there. Like you said, he sees the timing, so it can't be range expand. It can only be rangeless. So at least with this opener, Stork is going to have a fast Nexus as a follow-up, so that's nice. He's not going to be as behind in SCV count, but without range now, of course, he doesn't force repair at all. I wonder, you know, actually with the SCV not getting in, why doesn't he try to go like DT or something? But I guess he doesn't want to be reliant on that. He'll probably be all in if it gets scouted.
Yeah, and now he tried to find the SCV with Dragoon, but still Light doesn't commit and doesn't go inside. It's an interesting decision, but I feel like him seeing gas range right now would be useful. Looks like he does go in now. There's a robo that he could potentially see. I think Stork doesn't even know that the SCV is in his base.
Yeah, it looks like somehow he avoided pylon vision and got in. Yeah, Stork is probably like, yeah, you can see his camera on there. They're like, wait a minute, what? Well, how is this in here?
Yeah, that's not good, because now Light can basically skip fast eBay. He can skip defense against DTs, and he can just play so greedy after off his opening already. So this is not a good opening for Stork, I feel like.
Well, he takes it down, I guess, before he shows whether it's observer or support bay. But yeah, this is not looking great. I guess he could also go crazy mode, cancel it, and go DT, but I don't think I've ever seen somebody do that. It's going to be double add-on. This is what Light likes to do versus Reaver. He'll do the 3-tank push as the Reaver's out on the map, so then Protoss has to make the decision, am I turning around or am I going for the counter? And if you turn around, well, Terran just backs off. If you go for the counter, Terran commits, and, well, now you're stuck trying to hold with a 1-gate goon, which is pretty rough.
Yeah, it is cross position though, so it's a long push distance for Light. I'm not sure he can turn his economic advantage into a quick attack. Especially knowing him, he might just go for a super solid upgrade game here.
And this is just Light things, man. Always very diligent with the tank micro. He rarely gets siege first. He's always trying to maximize how many units he can get. And I imagine that's going to be for speed and mines.
So it does kind of look now like he's going to push, right? Because he's got the double add-on. He might be making 3 tanks and then rallying vultures.
Yeah, this is like his go-to. Because, like I said, if Protoss commits, you just pull your SCVs, and of course you need to be careful to make sure that the Scarab connections don't get crazy damage, but it's still 1-gate goon. Like, 1-gate goon is not going to stop 4 Marines, 3 tanks with rallied vultures. It's an incredibly strong timing.
Yeah, but Stork does have 5 Dragoons. I think the Reaver is already done, and he's got Zealots in the shuttle, so if he micros this well, this might be a strong push. These pylons are looking juicy to kill for Light.
Yeah, actually, I really don't like it. Okay, with the mines on the right side, they could prevent, you know, like a surround from the goons. But if there was somehow an observer here, where the goons could have immediately jumped on those mines, that could have been a disaster, as the tanks would have been stuck on low ground versus Goon Reaver. But luckily Light recognizes that's not the most ideal position to be in, and he backs off.
I think the vultures might go for a little bit of a runaround, and the goons are not high up enough. He might be able to slip through, and yeah, he does get them in.
No, okay, I was about to say no way. Yeah, all 4 of the vultures make it in, but they don't get past the secondary wall. Now they're kind of stuck, but there's no observer here, so maybe he could kill a pylon and escape. Maybe not.
No, I think he's gonna lose these vultures pretty much for free, so that's nice. That's a lot better than last game, where these same vultures got a lot done, so...
Just gonna, what, trade like some scarabs, maybe a zealot for these vultures, so... This was nice hold.
Where are his observers?
That's also what I'm wondering. Where are they? Like, I see one in the center of the map. I don't know if... I think that's actually a pylon over at the 3rd base of Light. I really don't know where his vision is. There's also no observer in Light's main. So Light, I can see he's ramping up his factory count up to 5. But Stork still has no idea what this is. By the way, there's some buildings that have gone down in Stork's main. They kind of look weirdly positioned, like they could be Stargates, but he's not mining his nat gas, so I don't think that's the case. Okay, it's 4 gates, but they're in weird positions.
Yeah, and Light just scanned the main base of Stork, so he knows exactly what's going on. But yeah, 5 fact against 4 gate. The Reaver was not able to do anything on Light's side of the map, so that's always a plus. That's basically all he accomplished with his attacks. It's just not being harassed at all by the Reaver. Now he's got 5 tanks, he's going up to 6 fact, so that's going to be a lot of units from Light.
Indeed it is, and once again I didn't notice a starport, so it could be another slow +2 timing or just 1-1. Either way, that's a lot of tanks, and with supplies being as close as they are, Terran may be setting up to try and take a 3rd base.
Building a turret out here, looks like that's exactly what he wants to do. Nowadays it's pretty hard to predict what Terran's going to do, because it looks like a 2-base push a lot of the time, but then they'll just take a 3rd anyways.
Well, we saw this yesterday, right, where Speed also had a forward turret, and then he just followed up with a timing. So I actually think this is going to be a timing, not just because we know, of course, it's 6 fact, but because of where the turret is. And we've got Stork in response. He's going to go for a shuttle bomb at the natural. There is no spider mine set up, so actually this could do a lot of damage. Also 1 turret, of course, shuttle can run by this 1 single turret. And he knows that all the units are out of position. Here he goes.
Yeah, this is a nice drop. He gets 2 Reavers in there. Quick SCV pull, so no SCVs lost, but now Light has to make a decision. Looks like he's just going to go straight for the kill. He's not going to pull back at all. So now this is going to be... Stork is going to be in trouble now with this push. He does pull back his Reaver, so that's going to be helpful on the defense. And this kind of forces the issue. The game is going to be decided right now. A free tank just then and a Goliath, and he backs up. Good start for Stork. And Light has to siege up.
By the way, Light's still not mining his natural, so this is a ton of lost mining. And with it being uphill, this is going to be really hard for Light to make a push work. Man, so many idle SCVs. I really don't like this. I don't think that this is going to work. I think Stork, as long as he can macro out of his gates and get his 8-gate speed zealots running, he's going to be in a fine position. But as I say that, supplies are slowly creeping up for Light. I mean, 122 to 130, Terran can definitely win, but he needs to have like floating buildings. He needs to have, you know, some Goliaths to definitely help keep the shuttles in check.
Looks like Light is going to swing around and maybe go attack that 3rd base, but it looks like Stork not quite ready yet. I don't know where are his zealots. I don't know if speed is finished for the zealots. Now turrets are being built, and once again shuttles on the counterattack. That worked really well last time. But now Light is really close to the Protoss 3rd base.
He's going to be on top of the probe line in just a second. And as I say that, there goes some probes. Shuttle bomb into the main. But these shuttles are pretty low health. Okay, Stork is just going to go for a counter, but he doesn't have that many observers, so he loses a couple of Dragoons, a couple of Zealots.
Yeah, this is turning into a bit of a wild game. Attacks on both sides of the maps, but I think Light just completely took out the 3rd base. And Stork is doing damage here, but he's just killing depots and turrets. And I don't think that's going to be enough. He needs to gather up a big army and break Light's position, or he's going to lose this game.
And despite Light not mining his natural for so long, he's still even in supply. And with a massive supply block coming in, Stork may feel obligated to attack right now, but this is the worst time to attack because supplies are even. Oh, but he does catch him out of siege. No, he doesn't.
That's a lot of tanks, but there's only one Goliath. The Reavers do unload and kill a tank right away, but Vultures come in from the back. All these goons are fighting uphill against a lot of siege tanks. Everything seems like it's dying for Stork. At the same time, the supplies are still even.
Oh, shuttle bomb. Not gonna get any tanks, but there's just still so much Terran left over. That one Reaver. Oh, shuttle, shuttle, shuttle.
Oh man, the shuttle gets taken out. There was still a Reaver inside. And now Stork lost his means to also counter drop Light's base. And Light's army is just getting bigger and bigger, and he chases these Dragoons down with the Vultures. And on the left side, Stork has a few units, but it just doesn't look like it's a lot. And he's trying to retake his third base, but he's bleeding off units everywhere, and Light's on the chase.
You just have Dragoons, man, and there's still so many tanks left over. He's also built so many Reavers this game. What is it, like his third or fourth Reaver right there? He's also had to build multiple shuttles. Those are all very expensive. Stork is going to try and take the same third base here, but he still hasn't dealt with the Terran army at all. There's only 4 Zealots with speed. I don't see any more shuttles, and Terran's now on high ground over the rally point.
Yeah, Light's really forcing the issue here, aggressively pushing forward, and every time he does, there are 2 DTs, so he needs to kill those. There's the scan, so he will take this out, and now those Vultures can just fight freely against those Zealots. Meanwhile, the Goon Zealot is in the center of the map, but not getting a whole lot done, and Light is just now banging on the natural. Stork is feeling the heat, and it doesn't look like he has enough there.
There's no Zealots with these goons, basically, so the tanks are just going to own everything. Also, of course, Light has a ton of Vultures. Well, they're going to die here, but he's knocking on the doorstep also. He's going to have Vulture versus basically Zealots, and we all know how that goes, as the Vultures, tanks, and Goliaths kill everything.
He still has so many units on the high ground, even in the middle of the map. Now the probes are starting to fall against these Vultures. Light takes a 20 supply lead, and with his really super heavy 2-base push, he's doing... Oh my god, the Reavers die against the Mines, and GG. Stork taps out, and Light takes it, and he will advance to the final match.
Yeah, that was just Light things right there. Killer macro. You knew he was going to have a really solid timing after his gasless opener. I think Stork had a good response with the rangeless expand, but even though he got that big drop in the natural, shut down a lot of the mining, I don't remember him killing like any SCVs. So Light just put back, 25 SCVs on workers, was even in supply the entire game. And also, Stork didn't capitalize on those isolated tanks in the center. Like, when he first made his first move where he had 8 tanks sieged up in the center, he didn't capitalize and jump on them.
Yeah, he just couldn't find the openings there in Light, and pretty insane to see Light go for such a big 2-base push of 2 bases when it's cross map. Like, you could see that it was kind of hard for Light to cover that much distance and push that far forward, but he just got it done. And I really liked the counter drops from Stork on the natural. I feel like that was really good and almost enough to get him back into the game. But at the end of the day, I just feel like his unit control was a little bit lacking. Like, he was losing random units left and right pretty much the whole game, and he just never really got enough to overcome Light's army.
Yeah, you can see that his speed was a little bit too late. Like, he's clearly waiting for it, but by the time he gets it, this base is already dead. Light's able to retreat back to high ground at bottom left. And then this drop, even though it was annoying, it didn't really kill very much. It killed a turret, a depot. I mean, who cares? Because Stork just lost a ton of pylons himself. So basically both players just supply block each other, but it's even supply. And Terran's just never going to lose that battle, 140 to 140. So unfortunately, Stork, he is going to be eliminated. He had some good gains, but I mean, this was a really rough group. It really doesn't get any harder than this for the Terran group. But we're going to be going into our final match after we come back from this break. And we are back with our final series of the day, a rematch from earlier of Royal and Light. We just saw Light crush through Stork, and Royal's been looking pretty good too, even though he ended up falling to Sharp.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good match. Light obviously probably going to be pissed. He lost that first time around to Royal.
Yeah.
So now we get to see him get a rematch. And Royal looked pretty sharp in his TVTs. He just barely lost against Sharp. But I think he's very dangerous, and I think it's going to be a good matchup.
I think so also. I know Light also does a lot of cutting, and I'm sure that he watched those games of Royal and Sharp, so I'm sure he's aware that Royal must have been cutting quite a bit, and he knows that Royal's a tricky player, going the 11 gas, showing like it could be vultures, but it ends up being tanks. I'm curious what Royal's openers are going to be, because he went back-to-back tanks in both the games, and look at this. We get Kickback, then we've got Dominator, and then we've got Minstrel.
Happy to finally get to see Kickback, because I have not seen that map yet, so finally we get to see it, and it's going to have some implications, like players are going to be mined out quicker, right? So that's something to keep in mind, and they most likely have to expand a little bit more aggressive, which in TVT is going to create a lot of openings.
Yeah, we saw somebody a couple weeks ago go for proxy racks, and then the opponent also countered with a proxy racks himself. But one of the key things, or one of the interesting things that I've noticed on Kickback, is when one player goes like 14cc or gasless, the opposing player double expands immediately. So that's also an interesting aspect of Kickback. We'll see if anybody actually goes for that as we get into game one.
All right, and here in the bottom left, we do have Royal.
Yep, and in the bottom right, we do have Light. So you can see that there's instant double base in your main. But look at the middle bases, like bottom, middle, and mid right. This is why I find TVP in particular so difficult, because after your first 20 minutes as Terran, which obviously you're in a great position, but after that, after all your bases mine out so fast, how do you get more than one base?
Yeah, you would basically have to, take a corner, right? Take another corner.
Yeah, you can take another corner. You can take the center in along with one of the side bases, but then you're like really committed to the middle.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see how that's going to translate into TVT. I mean, it's not going to make much difference in the early game, but the fact that there's a free base, basically, maybe both players would be tempted to even go 12cc or gasless expand here. What do you think?
I think that we're probably going to see gasless. I just have a feeling, even though I have seen Command Center first sometimes, and I have seen 12 gas, which is probably the most common opener in general. I think because these bases are so easy to defend, especially since the opposing player has to commit all the way to your main to do damage, I think we're just going to see gasless, and there we go. It is going to be a Rax. Is anybody going to put down... Ooh, Light with the 12 gas, and Royal once again with another 12 gas. So we're going to have mirrored builds so far.
Alright, so yeah, I guess the map doesn't play too much of a part here on the openings. I guess this front is really easy to wall off against vultures though, so maybe vulture play not going to be as good.
Yeah, you can definitely wall in. Also, this map, even though it's a 4-player map, my experience on here is it's like really fast rush distances. Like I just noticed when people open like tanks, like all of a sudden it's at my base and I'm like, wait a minute, didn't you just build a slow unit? How is it here already? So that's also something to consider. Interesting placement of the depot. Generally in Terran versus Terran, you don't really wall because you don't want the opposing player to land their racks and wall you in. But that's not going to be a full wall in for Light, but Royal is setting up like he might actually full wall in.
Yeah, and Royal did get a little bit luckier than Light. He gets the first scout off, so he sees exactly what he's playing against. Light is still a little bit in the dark, but both players are just making Marines. Both players, I think, took off gas, so both of them are just going to go expand off this.
Yeah, by the way, I think it may have been an 11 gas from Royal, because I see that his SCV is slightly later than Light's. Now the SCV gets in here, and it's on a map like this, it's imperative that you get in here and know whether this guy, 14cc, 12 gas, etc. So he sees that this is basically identical builds. Doesn't have to worry about double expanding himself to make back econ. Oh, a starport. But look at this. Once again, he just sends units. Okay, wasn't it Royal that sent units across the map? But it's this time Light just sending units across the map.
I mean, the starport is a little bit crazy, man, because Light scouted that there was no SCVs on gas. And then he still makes the starport before the CC. So that's an interesting twist. And
Yes.
if Light doesn't, like, he's going to have no way to see this, right? He's not going to get in.
It's going to be a starport from Light. I can see it going down at bottom left. Unless it's a hidden factory again. I mean, I guess based on how Royal was playing earlier, it could be a hidden factory, but I think it's another starport for Light himself. Now, the question is does Royal go straight cloak? And he does. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. This is probably going to catch Light off guard.
It looks like both players sort of have similar ideas. Both of them going for the starport. Now, if Light has the same thought and he also goes for cloak, and neither player gets an academy or anything like that, this is going to be a very interesting game.
Well, the thing is I don't think Light's going to go for cloak. I think he's just going to go straight Wraith and run in here, and by the time it runs in, Royal's probably going to have cloak and the starport. And also, you got to remember, from what Royal has shown here, this looks almost identical to what he showed on Radeon, where he had one factory, one add-on, but actually there was a second factory and a third factory hidden. But I will point out that the factory was not blinking when the racks came in, and he also sees, dude, you don't have a tank, you don't have anything, so what are you actually building? It can only be Wraith.
Yeah, and the fact that Royal didn't even lift his racks, just purely defensive, keeping the wall in. Light instantly starts that armory. Looks like he does know what he's playing against.
Yeah, but he didn't get an academy, at least not just yet. But, uh-oh. Okay, not going to commit. But I think Royal may come in just a second with 2 Wraiths. And even though 2 Wraiths don't have the highest DPS, they can be annoying dealing with the SCV line, or dealing damage to the SCVs.
Look at
Oh,
that.
he canceled his
actually
armory!
Canceled the armory.
What?
And Cloak is about to finish as well, I think. So this Light is still not out of the woods yet. This could still backfire against him when Cloak finishes.
Why did he cancel? He saw that this guy has no tanks. Even if he thought that the guy was going like a third command center, I mean, an armory isn't the most expensive building. You might as well just let it complete. Oh, now he has cloak, like I said.
Oh, man.
And there's no academy.
Yeah, he's going to be able to chase down these raids and kill them, but he lets it go, and it looks like he just is going to go for some SCV kills here.
Well, that was a mistake to let that one race survive. Not that it's, really going to do anything on the other side of the map, but at least he'll have them to be repaired and be able to potentially hold this if the academy can actually complete.
This is still really annoying for Light, man. He's losing SCVs. He's going to lose SCV build time because he's got to build the scanners. The rates of Light are too damaged to actually start fighting back against these raids yet, even though Cloak ran out. So until he repairs, he's just going to keep losing more and more here. This is a really, really bad start for Light, actually.
Yeah, but
finally a Goliath comes in.
Yeah, so he pushes this back. I would say that he didn't lose, an insane amount. And it looked like Royal was cutting a little bit for this, but the main problem now is, obviously Royal has some air control with the race. He's double expanded too. His factory count is going to be similar, and he's also got a decent tank count. So he could start trying to secure the center, sort of. Not necessarily the center, but kind of the middle of the map. Try and make sure that he doesn't... Go ahead.
Like, Light has a Valkyrie, and he has 4 tanks against 3.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if the air control is fully now in Royal's favor, because the Valkyrie is so strong. So Light is actually very aggressive right now. Maybe he can get a contain off, and that would be a big deal for him.
Actually, he could probably win, because he has 4 tanks and 2 Goliaths, and there's just 3 tanks. And like you said, the error is in favor of Light now with the Valkyrie. Yeah, I think he knows, like, dude, you have 3 tanks. What are you doing? Why are you in the center of the map? So he just jumps on this. If he has Siege, this would be... Oh, he catches the raise while Royal's not paying attention. There's a Valkyrie himself. Okay, that was a good control fallback for Royal there to save these tanks, but I guess Light doesn't have Siege. If there was Siege there, how would Royal get out of his base? He's walled himself in.
And now there's Siege, but yeah, Light does kill all the air units, which is a big deal. And Royal is going to move out here, but Light has full vision. Light also has raids, so I think he's just going to clean up these tanks. Like, one of them is very damaged. Yeah, Royal loses these tanks. That was not a good move.
This is why air superiority is so important. Vision is a huge deal in this matchup. He kills one of the rays,
but loses another Valkyrie, man. He's already lost 2 Valkyries. And he lost all his raids, and those Valkyries are so expensive.
Yeah, somehow that tank is surviving. Okay, now it gets taken down, and now this is the problem with going one factory double expand, is you don't have any production. Now he's on top of the depots. He can siege right here. He just needs to have some SCVs to repair, and even though Light is also only on 2 factories, he just has more tanks.
Yeah, killing these depots is really nice, and Light now has a really strong position outside of Royal's base. He's about 12 supply ahead. I don't think Royal is going to die anytime soon, but just the fact, look, that tank is also covering that base, so he can start shelling at the SCVs. So this position is really good for Light.
He can also hit the units coming up the ramp also, so you can see why it's very important to have control on this map, because you're losing your... Even though you have a 3rd expansion, you're not about to have it for much longer. That Wraith is not going to do anything.
Every single air unit that Royal makes, he's just sending it into the meat grinder, and these Valkyries are cleaning up everything. Even the CC is getting low. Now I'm not even sure he can lift it anymore, because the Valkyries could just kill it off. It's looking really bad for Royal, and he does GG. So Light takes game 1, and he's up 1-0.
I did like Royal's build order with the fast starport, with the fast cloak to catch Light off guard, but the tank count was just way too skimpy. In the 3rd command center, I mean, now in retrospect, I liked it initially. I'm like, wow, he's got double expansion, he's going to shoot up in supply, but he just didn't have enough tanks to make sure that he didn't get contained.
Yeah, I mean, Light really only had 1 tank more than Royal, right? But he really made it count, so... It's really interesting how TVT works like that, where the smallest advantages can just turn into game-winning scenarios like that, because Royal did pretty amazing work with his initial raid opening, but then Light even canceled his armory, but he still got a Valkyrie, and it was still enough to completely dominate the air battle. And then from there on, he just, with good micro, and literally a 1-tank advantage, he just closed out the game.
1 tank advantage, that's all you need, and that puts us on set 2 already. This time it's going to be Dominator. So Royal needs to channel his inner strength here, needs to bring it back to, needs to come out with a big showing like he did in game 1. Not this set, but the initial game versus Light, because he is on the brink of elimination.
Yeah, Royal needs to bust out some of his crazy strats again.
Yeah.
Like we saw him do before, catch Light off guard, because Light's looking really solid. All right, in the top left, we do have Royal.
Yep, in the middle right, we do have Light. So...
Is there anything you can say about these positions just from the start?
I was just about to say we may see an 8 racks on here, because this is high ground naturals, and it can be very punishing, especially if they build a bunker on high ground where you know half the time your tank shots aren't going to register. So I'm not surprised to see Royal do this. I do think Light is going to do what Royal did versus Sharp, which is I think he's going to build the racks on the high ground, and you really don't want to have your racks out in the center, like out forward, because then your SCVs take a long time to help, come and help. But at the same time, you have to make sure you don't lose your... It's a 6 racks. We were just talking about this earlier.
Yeah, this is like the build that only Royal does. I only ever see him do this. I think he even has a video on this on a YouTube channel where he explains the power of the 6 racks. And this is absolutely crazy. This is super all in. And if Light isn't thinking about this, like right now, he's just gonna do a standard build. This is gonna really, really be hard for him to defend.
Yeah, I don't know, like, how much damage you're looking for with this. In my opinion, I think you have to outright win the game. I don't think you can just, like, kill 3 SCVs. It's a 14cc, man. Oh, it's not. That's not where you want it.
No, that is way too exposed against this particular build. There's no way. That Rax, it's a 12 Rax, but it was late. He had like 200 minerals when he put that down. So the fact that it's all the way out there and it's delayed, and Royal's gonna find it right now with the scouting SCV, this is looking really, really bad for Light already.
Yeah, but at the same time, why is his scout here so fast? Yeah, Light is in massive trouble.
Yeah, he has to know, right? Because that scout is about 10 seconds too early.
The Marine's already here.
Yes. That Rax is never gonna finish, man.
No, there's no way it finishes. And this is why I was saying you don't want to forward Rax versus this. But at the same time, if you don't forward, not necessarily here, I'm talking about building it at its natural. If you don't forward Rax, you lose your high ground. So this is just complete build order win. He didn't even pull enough Marines for this because he thought it was an 8 Rax. But it ends up being a 6 Rax.
That's not enough SCVs. The Marines are just going to be able to kill those off, and that barracks isn't even close to being completed at all. He's doing some nice micro, getting shots off on the Marines, but the SCVs are dying. He pulls a few more, and the Marines are getting pretty low. One more does get taken out. The Rax finally finishes, but I mean, just look at the supply. Light is just losing so many workers, and the Rax is just being rallied. There's more and more Marines coming.
Yeah, I think you can lose something like 3 Marines maybe because of how all in this 6 Rax is, but losing whatever this was, 8 or 9, that's just not good. Yeah,
Light is chuckling. Happy. He's like, wow, I just got roiled, man, because literally that's the only Terran in the world that's doing the 6 Rax, but paying off for him here in a big game against Light to tie up the series. Nice.
That's incredibly risky too. Like, it's his last game of the tournament if he loses there, and he still goes for it. So I mean, that's why Royal is dangerous. You never know what he's going to pull out. He's gone completely different styles every single game. He's hidden factories. He's gone for the hidden starport with Cloak. He's now gone for a 6 Rax. And now he may have tilted Light a little bit with that victory.
Yeah, the mental damage he's doing with the build like that, like completely YOLOing in and doing a 6 Rax and taking a quick win. And now all of a sudden Light isn't, like, his tournament life is on the line. It's all going to be decided in just one game. And if anything, we already saw today that TVT can just be decided like by any kind of, you know, funky offbeat build like Royal loves to do. So this is looking pretty dangerous now for Light.
Especially now that it's Minstrel, where he could 6 Rax again, man. And how are you going to scout it? You can proxy anywhere. He can proxy probably even in his main. So if I was Light here, I can tell you I'm not building a Rax on the low ground. I'm not going gasless here, that's for sure, because I think the probability of it being a 6 Rax again is definitely not 0%.
And how would you even, what do you even do now, Slide? Do you have to start building your Rax at 10 or something like that just to be safe? I think he's probably just going to open standard now.
Yeah, so that's the thing. If you think he's going to open standard now, if you're Royal, why not try and, you know, maybe go gasless here, or maybe not necessarily gasless, but go for like a 14 gas or 13 gas. I don't even know if that's a thing in TVT, but point is get your mineral income rolling a little bit more. Oh, he's sending it again. Did I call it? This is even faster than last game. This is like a 5 Rax.
Oh my god, man, that is crazy. Yeah, but it is a 2-player map, right? So I can't believe he's doing it again. He's just putting it all on the line with a 6 Rax, and after having used it already in the previous game. It's totally nuts.
Okay, now I think the natural in the main at bottom right, you can build like the Rax behind the minerals at the natural. So I would, wait a minute, is this a 7 Rax? 7 Rax, I don't like 7. Oh, it's in the main. Is it gonna be in the main? No, he's gonna build it where I thought he was gonna build it. Okay, actually this time, 7 Rax, I don't know. This is This is not like that big of. Look at Light. He's already scouting his mate. He's paranoid already. Oh, please find it.
Dude, he's gonna scout the natural too.
Please, this
100%,
would be.
He's gonna scout the natural.
This would be such big brain if he scouts this.
Yeah, he scouts it. Yeah, he gets it. He sees it, and now this is not good, man. Now he's gonna be able to attack the SCV. Good for Light, man.
Well, I mean, you would think so, but actually this is a really good spot where the SCV can bounce back to the corner at bottom right. Oh, it's not bouncing. Oh, no.
He's trying to make it bounce, but it's still being able to be attacked, and it does get taken out. And now there's another SCV coming all the way from the center. But, man, this is not looking good now for Royal at all.
I can't tell you how good this feels as the defending player to shut this down. Like, you just completely obliterate this guy's build. And you can see Royal's reaction. He knows that, like, there's no chance of him recovering from this. This is not ladder where you can camp to victory. Like, that ain't happening versus Light. He's gonna... If he loses his SCV, I think he may just GG out. It is so low.
Like he gets to build a Marine. He does finish the rack, so that's good. But yeah, this Rax is already done too, so there's basically been 0 damage from this, and he's just gonna play with like 3 SCVs less the whole game, which is a crazy deficit.
Okay, well, make that 2. Look at Light's reaction. He can't even believe he lost that fight. He's like, wait, what?
The factory timing. Actually, Royal already has 100 gas, so he's going to be able to get a factory too.
The Marine didn't move. Looked like it was like on a move and a proxy factory. I mean, at this point, that's all you can do, right? SCV on the high ground, gonna try and hold the line here.
He just keeps getting crazier, man. Like, no. Yeah. If the proxy Rax doesn't work, just proxy the factory. Why not?
Well, if Royal wins this, that would be mind-boggling. He sniped. Oh, he sniped that SCV. That's nice.
That was a nice catch. There's no way Light's going to be scouting now for a proxy factory. I don't think. Well, he's sending out another SCV, so.
I don't think so either, because he sniped the SCV. I don't think he saw the second SCV get sent out. So there's no reason for him to scout for this. But as I say,
what do you even make with this proxy factory? Like, you just go vultures there?
It can only be vultures. I think what he's hoping for is that either Light built a tank, or Light is going to send across the map. So you got to consider what Light sees, right? He only sees 1 Marine. So most likely, he's just going to send it across the map, just run by a bunker. Now the SCV gets in and sees, oh, there's no factory. So it can only be one thing now. It's proxy vulture with armory and Goliath. So he's just now going to camp, probably build a bunker, and go tank.
Yeah, and he sees even the armory, so he must know exactly what he's playing against. And he already has the add-on. It's looking really, really bad for Royal, man. But the vulture does get here and cancels the SCV, building the CC. There's a second vulture on the way, and there's no bunker yet. So at some point, it's going to be really hard to actually build that bunker, because there's going to be more vultures from your opponent.
Well, I think what now's happening is, even though this base has been denied, he's probably going to get tank and siege, because he knows that the Goliath still don't have... What? He's going to transition... Royal can win, man. If he goes 2-fact tank and gets... If he can keep this Rax alive and somehow get like 4 tanks versus 3 with siege, maybe he can snipe some tanks.
Yeah, and he's got the money to instantly queue up 2 tanks.
Yeah,
but
and
Light's
remember...
pushing out with his tank as well.
And remember, we've seen Light skip siege for a long... Okay, now he knows it's double add-on. I can't imagine him skipping siege now. He also sees that no siege has been upgraded yet. I think he canceled something to get siege yet. Now he knows, like, okay, if I just get siege, make sure I don't get overrun by tanks, I'm good to go. In fact, I think he should consider building a starport now, because now he knows it's vulture tank and not vulture Goliath.
Yeah, this is so diligent from Light. He scouts not once, twice, but like 3 times, just to reconfirm what's actually going on. The bunker is now going up. He has 2 tanks of his own, and yeah, I don't think Royal is going to be able to do any damage, especially because he wasn't upgrading siege. So he can't even siege outside. He instantly loses a vulture as well.
Oh! He didn't focus the tank, man. He lost the tank, but there's still no siege mode. It's gonna be 4 tanks. Oh, no, it's not. He went vultures. Oh, there's the siege mode.
Okay, and now this rush has to be kind of over, right? Because there's probably more tanks on the way. Second tank.
Dude, he has siege, and he's gonna lose that tank. And he might lose that. What is going on? He killed both tanks.
How did Light lose 2 tanks against... Like that? Those are still Royal's first tanks, and he's killed a total of 3 tanks with them. Now the SCVs are getting pulled. He does take out 1 tank. But man, Royal's making this really, really close.
He may have done it, man. Like, Light doesn't have... He's not going to have critical tank. Well, he's still going to be able to hold his natural, but he's going to get contained here. I guess the question is how all in is Royal? Like, can he actually expand off of this? There's only 1 tank.
Look how low that barracks is as well. 20 HP. Again, he pushes forward and he gets the shots on the tank. But Royal does lose 1 of his tanks. A lot of SCVs are dying as well.
He's repairing it also. It's still alive. Does he have there's like another building in Light's main. Does he have a Wraith? I don't think he has the money for the Wraith. This is the exact scenario that's talking about. He's going to have 1 more tank. He can now one-shot the tanks because he has 3 versus 2, but he doesn't have vision anymore. He needs to use the vulture for vision. Where's the other tank? Yeah. Where's the 3rd tank? He has mines. Oh, he killed sniped. Oh my gosh.
Oh, but Royal's losing his tanks. He's losing his units. This last tank will get taken out.
No, it didn't shoot. Oh, he got it.
Once again, there's 2 tanks from Light. The mine gets taken out. And the Wraith is being made. So I think Royal's bleeding dry.
It looks like he is going to run out of steam simply because I think Royal's SCV count is so low. Now, of course, with there being 2 tanks and Royal having none, Light has now fortified his natural. Also, killing the barracks was huge because he didn't have any vision of those tanks. But this was way harder than it needed to be. Now the Wraith can go across the map and there's no anti-air at all.
Yeah, and I don't think Royal even has any clue that this Wraith is coming. And even if he makes Goliaths, they're so far away from his main base. So Light's just going to be able to harass the SCVs. He's got 2 command center against 1. The supply is actually fairly even. I think Royal has been making SCVs, but this Wraith is so annoying to deal with right now.
Yeah, with the factories being across the map, it's going to take a century for them to get back. You can see the reaction from Royal's face. He's not happy about this single Wraith. He just GG's.
And
wow.
GG, Light does it, man. Light goes in 2nd place, keeping the dream alive. We could potentially see a Sulky versus Light matchup. Dealing with the 6 racks in the end there. I can't believe you actually called it, that Royal would just do it again. He seems pretty bummed about losing. But he shouldn't have thrown it all on a 6 racks in the final game, or 7 racks.
Yeah, like it was just... Well, I mean, in retrospect, of course, right? We know that he shouldn't have done it, but I think it was a good idea. Light obviously knew something was going to be coming because he saw him scout really fast, but it's dangerous to scout like that on a map like Minstrel, because we saw, for example, I mean, you obviously saw he can proxy in the main. Light scouted for that. He can proxy at the natural. Light scouted for that. We saw yesterday Snow proxy between the natural and the 3rd base. But, you know, the 3rd base is, you know, technically like 2 locations on this map. You could take top right. You could take bottom left. There's literally like, I mean, he could have proxied in the center, right? There's like 5, 6, 7 different locations that he could have proxied. And by the time Light had scouted by then, the racks would have been completed. So it was really unfortunate placement, of course. I still can't believe that these 2 tanks died for no kills.
Yeah, and before that, another tank died as well. So he literally killed 3 tanks with 2 tanks.
Yeah.
It's very, very good. He made it so close.
And by the way, this tank splashed the other one. If that tank doesn't splash it, he may have won this game, because then it would have been 2 tanks ahead permanently, plus rallied tanks. You know, it would have been 3 versus 1 right here, for example.
Yeah. So that was actually a really, really tight hold by Light, despite finding the racks early. Royal still almost did it, but congrats to Light for actually going diligent with his scouting, finding the racks, and defending well enough.
Yeah, he almost got roiled, as you
Yeah,
would
he
say.
almost got royal twice.
Oh my gosh. It's sad though, because Royal, like, he dominated on Radeon, right? Like, it wasn't close. It was a blowout. It was like a complete crushing blow to Light. And then all of a sudden, he tried to be really tricky on Kickback. And then, of course, yes, he got the win on Dominator, but why not try and just overwhelm him again? Like, he played so solid on Radeon. I feel like it was kind of once again, Royal getting in his head, trying to be way too tricky in a series that he didn't necessarily need to be tricky.
Yeah, exactly. I think you could tell that Royal probably considered himself the underdog. That's why he chose the builds he did. And it's hard playing against Light because every single Terran in the world, probably Royal too, even Royal, someone at Royal's level, looks up to Light as one of the best Terrans and probably the example for Terran. So when you have to play against him, it makes sense that you would choose these kind of builds. And it worked out really well for him. Honestly, he went 2-2 with Light, if you count the Radiant game. So he did really well today, and just unfortunate to get knocked out.
Yeah, I've had that situation also where you have the same score, but the way the scores unfold, the order, you end up being eliminated. It's like one of the worst feelings, but I'm happy for Light here because he's obviously one of the best Terrans, if not the best Terran. So he'll make it out in second place, which gives us the dream of Sulky of Light still. And we're going to have group draw right after this, by the way, I think. So we're going to see what the groups actually end up being.
That's great. That's great. It's going to be some banger round of 8 matchups, man.
I know, man. And I think everybody can actually beat their opponent, except I guess maybe Sulky, right? Because everybody I think is in concurs that he's like the best right now. I think, what was it, like 2 months ago or 3 months ago, he had like 75% win rate versus Pro League. But I will say the last few sponsored games that I've seen between him and Light, they're definitely not 75% in favor of Sulky. Like, they're really, really close, like near 50-50.
Yeah, whenever you sometimes link me a stream of them playing, and it's always just these crazy close games. But
Yeah,
about Sulky, he's trying to go for a 3P, right? Like, he won the last 2 ASLs. And considering there's only 2 seasons of ASL a year, that's such a crazy long streak of dominance. If he manages to 3P right now, I think that's an insane accomplishment, because that means over the span of like a year and a half, or even almost 2 years, he's consistently just the best player and he's winning every time. I think even Flash didn't repeat. So that would be totally nuts.
that would be pretty crazy. I think you're right that I don't think Flash has gone back to back to back. I think he's done it twice in a row, along with Queen. But I'm not certain on that because Flash is a madman. It wouldn't surprise me if he's won like 5 in a row.
Yeah, yeah. With random.
Yeah, with random. I still can't believe that he almost got, was it third place or into the finals with random? It's just too bad that his Zerg versus Zerg was so reliant on mind games.
I mean,
That
to be honest, from those games, the only matchup he's really, really good at is PvT.
Yeah, he crushed PvT.
Everything else, he was just kind of relying on the fact that he's random and getting like an advantage through being random. Obviously, it's still really impressive, the achievement, but it's not like somebody who's not super in the boot war might look at that and be like, whoa, like Flash actually the best with every race. Like, look at him playing random. But that's not really how that went.
Yeah, his Zerg versus Zerg especially looked pretty weak, except on maps like Plasma, where he had, obviously massive build order advantage. His Zerg versus Protoss, I can say, is really good because I've seen him play it versus even players like Bisu, and it has done decently well. But yeah, there's a lot of mind games with his other matchups. Light also played Protoss for 1 season of KSL. I don't remember the reason why he did that, but he was also pretty good at it.
Yeah, I think his PVZ is really good too.
There's a clip of Flash beating Queen PVZ on match point. I think he was the only pro that lost to Flash's Protoss. He was talking a bunch of trash on stream about how all the Zerg pros are just going to go through Flash's Protoss just one after the other and take him down, and then Queen ended up losing.
Oh, yeah, man, you think we're gonna see Flash in the next ASL maybe in 2025?
I don't know, because I'm surprised that he's been away for so long. Like, he hasn't made an appearance at all. I thought I remember reading that Jin said in one of his videos that Flash was going to be coming back pretty soon, and he still hasn't come back. So I'm actually kind of questioning if he'll ever come back. But of course, I'm not Korean. I don't know any insight into the Korean scene. But I am surprised that he's been gone this long. Maybe it's just me, though.
Yeah, well, there were already rumors of him being back on the ladder like a year ago, I feel like. So, yeah, I was expecting him to play already this season. But maybe since he's Flash and he's got the legacy and stuff to worry about, he just wants to make sure that he's absolutely like the best player around before he starts to compete again.
Yeah, and I think he probably is or near the best. But, I
It,
mean, you're not going to become the best playing on ladder, that's for sure.
no. Well, he's obviously playing customs too. Like he's got a lot of friends, right? But we don't really see him in spoon games either. So it's kind of strange. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's why I'm hesitant to say that he'll be back next season. I don't know if he's actually done or not, but we're getting a rundown of how today went. Sharp took down Stork, Royal crushed Light, then Sharp and Royal. Sharp got the best of him there. Light ended up 2-0ing Stork, and then Light shutting down that 6 racks in the final game. He's going to make it out in second place of our group. So we have all the players set now. It's Sulky Rush, it's Barracks Hero, it's Snow and Rain, and then Sharp and Light. So we have 4 Terrans, 2 Protoss, 2 Zerg. So once again, Terrans leading the charge.
Yeah, as always, kind of.
Yeah.
I remember last season there was like this crazy statistic, right? It was like out of the Ro.16 there were like 8 or more Terrans, but then the finals ended up being ZVZ. So you really can't tell much by it.
Yeah, that is true. Sometimes all you need is just one superstar like Sulky to go the distance, or Soma in previous seasons. Even though Soma never won, he always went pretty far when he played. Hopefully we get into the group draw pretty soon, because I want to see what these lineups are going to be. I'm pretty confident that they do the group draw. I think every season that I've done this, they've ended up doing the group draw immediately. I can't imagine them changing it up this time.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see who plays who. Also, the first round of 8 is already going to be next week. So there's not even going to be a whole lot of waiting time like there was between the round of 32 and the round of 16. So it's going to kick off here pretty soon, which is very exciting.
Yeah, this whole season is going to be wrapping up in 1 month. I think the last day is actually November 2nd, which is right before daylight savings time for me. So that's going to be great. Won't have to wake up at 4:30 instead of 5:30.
Yeah, what do you do when you wake up? You just like you slap on some clothes,
No,
put some water in your face, or
I'm still in pajamas, man. I just go get a banana or some type of breakfast bar, eat that, get some water, like you said, and then after the cast is done, depending on when it ends, I go back to sleep for a little bit. But based on how late this cast is gonna go, probably not gonna go back to sleep. I'll just stay up for the rest of the day, install that Throne and Liberty. You know what I mean?
is that playable already?
I think today's the day it comes out. I think early access was the past 4 days. I guess I would have to look.
But you said you took today off work, right?
Yeah, actually, I did take today off work, but usually I
So
don't.
so on other days you literally just sit there at 5 a.m. in the morning, you cast for a couple of hours, and you go back to work.
Yeah, I
The
do.
dedication you have is just remarkable, man. It's great.
Well, what can I do? It's not like I can just not go to work. They'll be like, "Where are you?"
Well, I was casting the ASL games. Didn't you watch them?
Yeah, don't act like you didn't watch them. Oh, are we not actually going into the group draw? Okay, we are. The way he looked at the camera, I thought we were just done. But here we go.
She's going to take the ballots out of the bowl, or how is this going to go?
Yeah, she's gonna put the 1 seeds into one section and the 2 seeds into another section, and then explain that players that played each other in the round of 16 aren't gonna be able to play each other in the round of 8. So that prevents stuff like Sulky facing off versus Rush again. You can
Yeah.
only play other players from other groups. Yep.
She's already got them all sorted. Let's see. That's the number one places, I guess.
Yeah, I think she does all the first places first, and then we get second. That looks like a Zerg. Oh, that's a Terran. Okay, Barracks.
So that's going to be the first game then, next Monday.
Yes, I think Terran. I think Barracks is really hoping he gets. Well, who does he want? I think because he's playing so well versus Protoss, I think surprisingly he probably wants Snow. Because because all the times I see Barracks win, it's in Terran versus Protoss. He has done well lately, Terran versus Zerg, especially in StarCastTV Star League, but most of the times in ASL when I see him win, it's versus Protoss.
Yeah, but that's a crazy statement, for a Terran player to actually want Snow.
Yeah, that's the thing is, do you really want a Protoss here? Because the only one you can face is Snow. All right, so we've got Sulky next. So next week it's going to be Barracks and Sulky. And then the following we'll have Rain and Sharp. And now, here's the big question is, who does Barracks face off against? She's explaining the rules
I would
here.
like to see Barracks against Hero.
Okay.
But that would mean the round of 4 might be a ZVC. So Actually, I'd like to be Hero to be on the other side of the bracket.
Uh-oh, that looks like Protoss.
Oh, he got Snow, man. It's going to be a big test for him.
Okay, so this is going according to my plan. Now we need to see Sulky versus Light here.
Yes. Imagine that. As long as it's not Hero. Please not Hero.
Oh, it is Light. Okay.
Oh, it's Light. What a matchup, man.
That is a crazy matchup. So we're 2 for 2 here. Now I think we need to have Rain versus Hero. It's Rush. Okay,
so Sharp versus Hero then. Man, that's a good bracket for Hero, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a really good bracket. If he can beat Sharp like he did last season, I think he has a good shot versus Rush. If somehow Rain beats Rush, well, then Hero's in the dream scenario because he gets another Protoss, which he just doesn't lose versus. But on the left side, even if Sulky gets past Light, that's a pretty rough side to get through in your second match. I mean, if Barracks beats Snow, then Barracks must be playing at his all-time best. And if Snow gets past Barracks, well, then we have a rematch of last season's semifinals.
Yeah, so Sulky versus Snow once again in the semifinal would be crazy. But even Light versus Snow in the semifinal would be an amazing matchup. I think that's pretty much as close to as good of a draw you could have. These games are all really exciting. I think the top half is a little bit more stacked than the bottom half, but still, following Rain do well or even Sharp or Hero would be really cool as well. Hero has never won an ASL, right? But made several finals.
Yeah, he's made round of 4, I don't know, 5, 6 times. I think he's made the finals maybe twice, something like that, but he hasn't won. The only person to have won, is it Rain? Did Rain ever win ASL?
I think Rain won one ASL, but yeah.
Okay. And here's our first matchup. It's going to be Barracks versus Snow. Like I was saying, I think that this, even though Snow's a Terran killer, he kind of got exposed a little bit by speed, by the multitasking. And his build order, on the Radeon game, going Arbiter, not having great econ, then going DT drop into carriers. I mean, the build order honestly was all over the place. And Barracks is someone that will just gasless expand, nail a 6-fact timing. If you kind of just screw around versus him, he's going to run you over. He also has 400 APM like speed, so he can also be a madman with the vultures. So I think there is a world where Barracks can win. But this is, of course, the round of 8 match of the entire bracket. Sulky versus Light. It doesn't get better than this.
Yeah, this is the Clash of the Titans. Pretty much the best Zerg against the best TVZ player. This one is, I'm going to be definitely watching this.
Yeah, we're going to see if Need Money can get some more money this season. But he's got a really tough side of the bracket to get through. Light, he's, like I was saying earlier, I've been seeing him have better results versus Sulky in recent sponsored matches. I think the last one I saw was really close, like 4-3. There's been a lot of Chinese sponsored best of sevens that you can, I think, check out on the StarCast Korean channel. Cruiser has also been broadcasting those. Then we've got Rain versus Rush here. Rain historically has said that he doesn't like Protoss versus Terran, and Rush, just like Light, is really dangerous in TVP. Rush doesn't necessarily split the map TVP, but he can definitely play the passive style. He can play the timings. He can, do the upgrade Terran, the 5-fact. So I think this is going to be rough for Rain.
Yeah, I think Rain doesn't like this matchup, especially because he said he doesn't like PvT. And also because his playstyle is very defensive. I think that's why he struggles with PvT, because I don't ever see him really get a lot done with his Reavers. He's usually just always playing Goon Obs, and then obviously the mid game playing against tank pushes and vultures is really tough. But we'll have to see. He's got a lot of time to practice for this. He's got 2 weeks.
And most of the time when I see Rain playing, he's going like Arbiter and stuff. Not that Arbiters are bad, but a lot of Terrans think that it's like the weakest tech follow-up as opposed to like mass shuttles or storm or carriers. And then we've got Sharp versus Hero, which is a rematch of round of 4 last season also. Sharp looked really good in the first couple games versus Hero, but then I think Hero ended up winning 4-1 or 4-2 overall. But either way, this is still going to be a revenge battle. So looking forward to that one also. If Hero was to make it through Sharp here, I think he's really hoping Rain makes it out, just because he doesn't lose Zerg versus Protoss ever, pretty much.
Yeah, I think last season this one was kind of a blowout. As Sharp, like you said, he looked really strong on game 1 on that same map that you forgot earlier that I also don't remember the name of.
Yeah.
But yeah, nice to see them match up again, and I'm sure Sharp has some revenge feelings from last season. And I really like watching Hero play. He's like one of those Zerg players that's always super solid and basically always plays the meta. He's always applying the latest tips and tricks that the Zerg race has to offer. So he's very exciting to watch.
And I remembered that map that you mentioned now. It's Citadel.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, like, is it Nemesis? It's not Nemesis. Citadel, man. And what's funny is I kept always talking about how strong Terran is on that map, and then I think every time I watch Terran play there, they lost, except for that one game versus Hero, where Sharp did win.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Terran was that good on that map. Felt like it was a huge map, really.
Well, my logic for it was, like, third base is really close to the mineral only, then the fourth base is also right there, and then you have, walls. So how do units get on top of your tanks? But for whatever reason, like in the Terran versus Protoss games in particular, Terran would get their 4 bases, sometimes even get 5 bases, but they struggled to deal with Protoss having the other 3/4 of the map and having like 10,000 minerals, and eventually Terran just ran out of steam. I mean, there were a lot of epic games. Specifically, I remember Ample versus Snow on there, where Snow had like at least a 10k bank, and Ample almost starved him out, 5 bases versus like 8, which was crazy, but in the end, Ample still lost.
Yeah, I also remember Light playing on that map and just playing these super late game against Protoss. That was, and he somehow made it work. He just kept moving his army all the way from the left to the right to the other side of the map, like only Light can play.
Yeah, he indeed was the only guy that I remember winning. There was another game of him versus Best where it was the same thing. Protoss has 3/4 of the map, but Light is just able to split and defend everywhere and just have effective trades. Of course, it helped that he was playing versus Best, who loves to run into mines, but still, it's
He loves it.
yeah, he loves it. I just wish he would get Observer speed, man. Like every time I watch him play, I'm like, please, can you just get Observer speed so this doesn't happen?
Yeah, it's one of those things some Protoss have a hard time with. Stork today was the same thing. You ran into mines quite a bit as well.
Yeah, yesterday also Snow was eating a bunch of mines, especially on the Dominator map. You know, it's funny, in like the really old days, I think in 2000, I think Protoss players even rushed observer speed as like their first upgrade, even before range. Maybe that's a little extreme, maybe not before range, but I remember everybody getting observer speed first because of how impactful mines were. Now nobody gets it.
Not even in the mid game.
Well, I don't remember seeing observers move with the army. I feel
It
like
seems
they're
such a. It seems just like such a brain dead decision. It's really good. That's the only way it keeps up with the dragoons. So why wouldn't you get it? I actually get it when I play Protoss, which isn't too often, and I'm not very good, but still.
yeah, I don't know. I think the observer is slightly faster than everything that they have, so maybe it gets too far ahead. But I haven't noticed, at least in these ASL games, the observers having speed. Maybe they get sight. Maybe I'm just wrong here. They actually get sight, but I haven't noticed any upgrades.
Well, you see, there's still ways to improve, even for these guys.
Well, I'm still waiting for them to start recalling carriers, man. I'm still waiting for them to figure out that they can do that in StarCraft 1 just like they do in StarCraft 2.
Yeah, and then recall them back with a different arbiter sitting somewhere else on the map. Just play
Yeah.
ping pong back and
Yeah.
forth.
It's cancer. That's what I do. I played one person on the ladder a few years ago, and he was doing it, and I was just so confused. I was like, "Am I playing myself here? Is like this my clone?" Like I would move all my Goliaths down to bottom right, and then he would recall his carriers to my main and kill all my factories, and then recall away. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" But we are done today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Big thanks to Ret for helping me out this week, and we'll be back next week with the round of 8. We've got some epic matchups coming up.
All right, guys, see ya.